to rugby league news finally, and all eyes will be on Wembley for the Challenge Cup final, the first piece of silverware available for the season. It's Wigan Warriors who take on Hull Kingston Rovers in the capital, with that game kicking off at Wembley Stadium at 3 o'clock. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack. We start with football headlines on this Saturday morning, and Anthony Gordon says he believed he would play for Barcelona since he was just 3 years old. That's after joining from Newcastle United in a deal worth more than €80 million. The 25-year-old England forward has signed a contract with the La Liga champions until 2031. That's after a fee was agreed between the two clubs following advanced talks earlier this week and amid interest from Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich. Well, catching many off guard by speaking some fantastic Spanish in his press conference, this is what Gordon had to say. I was excited to play for Barca since I was 3 years of age. I wanted to speak Spanish because as a kid I believed I would play football for Barca, believe it or not. I have a physio in Newcastle and we spoke every day, and I told him one day I'll play for Barca, so I want to learn Spanish. I found out very late, but as soon as I knew Barca were a serious option, there wasn't any question. Meanwhile, the news from yesterday was also that Jose Mourinho has signed a 3-year deal to become Real Madrid's new head coach. He will not be officially unveiled until after the club's presidential election, which is due to take place on June 7th. However, the 63-year-old's contract will only be valid if current president Florentino Perez remains in his role. Well, of course, it's a massive night for Arsenal Football Club in the Champions League final. Boss Mikel Arteta says Dutch defender Jurrien Timber is fit to start Saturday's final against Paris Saint-Germain. Ryan Timber has not played for the Gunners since sustaining a groin injury in their victory over Everton in March. However, Arteta has confirmed that Timber is available to take on Paris Saint-Germain in the European Cup final. Moving on to rugby union news now, and Bristol secured a valuable win at home against West Country rivals Bath in the English Gallagher Prem. Bristol, who'd suffered heavy defeats to Saracens and Northampton Saints in their previous games, came out on top by 21 points to 19. That's despite trailing 19 points to 7 at the half-time whistle. Meanwhile, in the United Rugby Championship, Glasgow Warriors are the first team to secure their place in the semi-finals of the playoffs. Glasgow coming out on top 33 points to 21 against Connacht at Scotstoun on Friday night. Glasgow Warriors and Scotland winger Carl Steyn bagging 2 tries in that game. Moving on to rugby league news finally, and all eyes will be on Wembley for the Challenge Cup final, the first piece of silverware available for the season. It's Wigan Warriors who take on Hull Kingston Rovers in the capital, with that game kicking off at Wembley Stadium at 3 o'clock. But that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack. We'll start with the football headlines on this Saturday morning, and Anthony Gordon says he believed he would play for Barcelona since he was just 3 years old. That's after joining from Newcastle United in a deal worth more than €80 million. The 25-year-old England forward has signed a contract with the La Liga champions until 2031. That's after a fee was agreed between the two clubs following advanced talks earlier this week and amid interest from Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich. Well, catching many off guard by speaking some fantastic Spanish in his press conference, this is what Gordon had to say. I was excited to play for Barca since I was 3 years of age. I wanted to speak Spanish because as a kid I believed I would play football for Barca, believe it or not. I have a physio in Newcastle and we spoke every day, and I told him one day I'll play for Barca, so I want to learn Spanish. I found out very late, but as soon as I knew Barca were a serious option, there wasn't any question. Meanwhile, the news from yesterday was also that Jose Mourinho has signed a 3-year deal to become Real Madrid's new head coach. He will not be officially unveiled until after the club's presidential election, which is due to take place on June 7th. However, the 63-year-old's contract will only be valid if current president Florentino Perez remains in his role. Well, of course, it's a massive night for Arsenal Football Club in the Champions League final. Boss Mikel Arteta says Dutch defender Jurrien Timber is fit to start Saturday's final against Paris Saint-Germain. Ryan Timber has not played for the Gunners since sustaining a groin injury in their victory over Everton in March. However, Arteta has confirmed that Timber is available to take on Paris Saint-Germain in the European Cup final. Moving on to rugby union news now, and Bristol secured a valuable win at home against West Country rivals Bath in the English Gallagher Prem. Bristol, who'd suffered heavy defeats to Saracens and Northampton Saints in their previous games, came out on top by 21 points to 19. That's despite trailing 19 points to 7 at the half-time whistle. Meanwhile, in the United Rugby Championship, Glasgow Warriors are the first team to secure their place in the semi-finals of the playoffs. Glasgow coming out on top 33 points to 21 against Connacht at Scotstoun on Friday night. Glasgow Warriors and Scotland winger Carl Steyn bagging 2 tries in that game. Moving on to rugby league news finally, and all eyes will be on Wembley for the Challenge Cup final, the first piece of silverware available for the season. It's Wigan Warriors who take on Hull Kingston Rovers in the capital, with that game kicking off at Wembley Stadium at 3 o'clock. And that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack. We'll start with the football headlines on this Saturday morning. And Anthony Gordon says he believed he would play for Barcelona since he was just 3 years old. That's after joining from Newcastle United in a deal worth more than €80 million. The 25-year-old England forward has signed a contract with the La Liga champions until 2031. That's after a fee was agreed between the two clubs following advanced talks earlier this week and amid interest from Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich. Well, catching many off guard by speaking some fantastic Spanish in his press conference, this is what Gordon had to say. I was excited to play for Barca since I was 3 years of age. I wanted to speak Spanish because as a kid I believed I would play football for Barca, believe it or not. I have a physio in Newcastle and we spoke every day, and I told him one day I'll play for Barca, so I want to learn Spanish. I found out very late, but as soon as I knew Barca were a serious option, there wasn't any question. Meanwhile, the news from yesterday was also that Jose Mourinho has signed a 3-year deal to become Real Madrid's new head coach. He will not be officially unveiled until after the club's presidential election, which is due to take place on June 7th. However, the 63-year-old's contract will only be valid if current president Florentino Perez remains in his role. Well, of course, it's a massive night for Arsenal Football Club in the Champions League final. Boss Mikel Arteta says Dutch defender Jurrien Timber is fit to start Saturday's final against Paris Saint-Germain. Ryan Timber has not played for the Gunners since sustaining a groin injury in their victory over Everton in March. However, Arteta has confirmed that Timber is available to take on Paris Saint-Germain in the European Cup final. Moving on to rugby union news now, and Bristol secured a valuable win at home against West Country rivals Bath in the English Gallagher Prem. Bristol, who'd suffered heavy defeats to Saracens and Northampton Saints in their previous games, came out on top by 21 points to 19. That's despite trailing 19 points to 7 at the half-time whistle. Meanwhile, in the United Rugby Championship, Glasgow Warriors are the first team to secure their place in the semi-finals of the playoffs. Glasgow were coming out on top 33 points to 21 against Connacht at Scotstoun on Friday night. Glasgow Warriors and Scotland winger Carl Steyn bagging 2 tries in that game. Moving on to rugby league news finally, and all eyes will be on Wembley for the Challenge Cup final, the first piece of silverware available for the season. It's Wigan Warriors who take on Hull Kingston Rovers in the capital, with that game kicking off at Wembley Stadium at 3 o'clock. And that's all for now. We'll have more later. These are your latest sports news headlines. I'm Alex Jack. We'll start with the football headlines on this Saturday morning. And Anthony Gordon says he believed he would play for Barcelona since he was just 3 years old. That's after joining from Newcastle United in a deal worth more than €80 million. The 25-year-old England forward has signed a contract with the La Liga champions until 2031. That's after a fee was agreed between the two clubs following advanced talks earlier this week and amid interest from Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich. Well, catching many off guard by speaking some fantastic Spanish in his press conference, this is what Gordon had to say. I was excited to play for Barca since I was 3 years of age. I wanted to speak Spanish because as a kid I believed I would play football for Barca, believe it or not. I have a physio in Newcastle and we spoke every day. And I told him one day I'll play for Barca, so I want to learn Spanish. I found out very late. But as soon as I knew Barca were a serious option, there wasn't any question. Meanwhile, the news from yesterday was also that Jose Mourinho has signed a 3-year deal to become Real Madrid's new head coach. He will not be officially unveiled until after the club's presidential election, which is due to take place on June 7th. However, the 63-year-old's contract will only be valid if current president Florentino Perez remains in his role. Well, of course, it's a massive night for Arsenal Football Club in the Champions League final. Boss Mikel Arteta says Dutch defender Jurrien Timber is fit to start Saturday's final against Paris Saint-Germain. Ryan Timber has not played for the Gunners since sustaining a groin injury in their victory over Everton in March. However, Arteta has confirmed that Timber is available to take on Paris Saint-Germain in the European Cup final. Moving on to rugby union news now, and Bristol secured a valuable win at home against West Country rivals Bath in the English Gallagher Prem. Bristol, who'd suffered heavy defeats to Saracens and Northampton Saints in their previous games, came out on top by 21 points to 19. That's despite trailing 19 points to 7 at the half-time whistle. Meanwhile, in the United Rugby Championship, Glasgow Warriors are the first team to secure their place in the semi-finals of the playoffs. Glasgow coming out on top 33 points to 21 against Connacht at Scotstoun on Friday night. Glasgow Warriors and Scotland winger Carl Steyn bagging 2 tries in that game. Moving on to Rugby League.
William Pacho and Nuno Mendes, with midfield 3 of Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha and João Neves, with a forward 3 of Desire Doué, Ousmane Dembele, Kivicha Kvaratskhelia. Whereas for the Gunners, it's David Raya in goal, a back four of Christian Mosquera, William Saliba, Gabriel and Piero Nkapia, and a midfield 3. Skipper Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice and Miles Lewis-Skelly, and a forward trio of Leandro Trossard, Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka. And it is a warm welcome to this evening's independent off-tube studio commentary of all the action, as it is the Champions League final. The defending champions PSG, the champions of France, are facing the champions of England. After 22 long years, the Gunners did lift that league title last weekend. They'll also be looking for a double this season to lift their first ever UEFA Champions League. What a clash awaits us. PSG against Arsenal, both 2 strong sides in the semi-finals of this very competition last season. PSG coming away with a 3-1 victory over the 2 legs. Should be interesting to see how they do cope with the game this evening. Just a quick update on the teams. If you did miss them in the preamble, I will say we're just about to kick off. Both teams having the huddles. There was the pre-performance, very American of the Champions League, it has to be said. So we're just about to kick off. For PSG from their last game, 2-1 loss to Paris FC. 5 changes. Pacho, Mendes, Neves, Doué, along with Hakimi, his first game since he picked up that knock against Bayern Munich in the first leg. They all come in. For Arsenal, 8 changes from the 2-1 win against Palace. Mosquera, Lewis-Skelly and Nkapia keep their places. We're just about to get underway. Refereeing this evening is Daniel Seibert, the German. All the action just in just a moment from the Puskás Stadium, Budapest, Hungary. It will be Arsenal to get us underway, going from left to right in the usual red and white. PSG are right to left, and we are underway straight away. Declan Rice punts it right up into the air, probably as high as the stadium goes, and we are underway. So quickly for PSG, Safonov is in goal, back 4 of Hakimi, skipper Marquinhos and Mendes, along with a midfield 3 of Ruiz, Vitinha and Neves, and a forward 3 of Doué, Dembele and Kvaratskhelia. for the Gunners. Raya is in goal. Back four of Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel and Capier. Skipper Odegaard, Rice and Lewis Skelly as a midfield trio. And a forward three of Saka, Havertz and Trossard for Arteta's side. It's myself, Lewis Raftery, joined by Paul Shabakovic to take through all the action this evening. And Paul, it should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. I know you're looking forward to it as well. Will it be tense? Obviously, PSG absolutely obliterated Inter last year in the final. The top scorers in PSG, 44 in the competition against the least conceded Arsenal with 6. How do you see it going?
Well, I think those two facts you just mentioned at the end there, Lewis, I think are very important. The fact that we have got the highest scorers against the best defence. It does mean, I think, that Arsenal are going to try and keep PSG at bay, albeit the first few moments of this game, it is Arsenal trying to get forward. But it does make for a fascinating game. I think that if Arsenal score first, that's probably the best sort of start for the neutral, because it then forces PSG to really come out of their shell. But a long ball in now from the Declan Rice towards the edge of the area.
Into a dangerous area by Gabriel that time, but just trickles as it got for a goal kick. Safanov might have just let it trickle into his hands. Also looking at a back four, of course, that you spoke about just set pieces, then they had one there. Look at a back four in Capier, Mosquera as fullbacks, and Saliba, Gabriel, of course, that partnership continues. That's something to me that I'm not Calafiore, he's a very tall player, he could play at left back, of course, and I was speaking to Paul before going there. PSG only have 2 players over 6'2". That's something that might come into play. That's Pacho and Fabian Ruiz from that goal kick. It's whipped out to the left hand side, too much on it. The Cali did that against Bayern Munich, didn't they? Safanov didn't try to pick it out, he just booted it out to one side, and the press very high. PSG have the ball with Hakimi, but a fast start.
It is a fast start. I think the idea with Safanov as well is that PSG don't like to necessarily always play out from the back, because they know that they have enough bodies in midfield to get that ball further up the field as well. Luis Enrique does give them that freedom to be able to do that. I think we see too many teams that almost feel like they have to play out from the back, even if it's not the best option. But Arsenal can certainly try and put as much pressure as they can here on PSG as they try and keep the ball away from their own penalty. The worry for Arsenal is once PSG get into that final third, that's when they can be very dangerous.
100%. Of course, at the moment, Dembele's on the ball. He's at left back, as Paul rightfully pointed out. It's fluid. It's almost, I want to play this type of football, but you're a footballer. You know what you're doing on the pitch. We know it's so fluid. PSG's possession at the moment. Dembele's gone to the left-hand side. Mendes is there right now. Fabian Ruiz is a left-back. It's almost, as long as everyone's in the shape, I don't really care, does Luis Enrique, of what happens. Hakimi has it on the right-hand side. Just hit 3 minutes on the clock, and again, as you rightfully pointed out as well, with the playing out from the back, Arsenal are a great pressing side. So if you do overdo it, definitely they will catch you out, will the Gunners. In the middle with Vitinha. And João Neves are probably the 2 ones who sit a little bit more. Allow Fabian Ruiz, I mean, it was 2 years ago now, but what a Euros he did have lifting the trophy with Spain. Well, to Mendes on the left-hand side, just inside the PSG half. Again, a very calm start to this game. In the first leg of the semi-finals, a scored inside the first 5 minutes with Ousmane Dembele. Great strike just on the edge of the area, and as you spoke about, it depends if Arsenal get the first goal, PSG get the first goal, it's as cliche as it comes, but my word, will it be so important. Long ball over the top, looking for the run there of Kvaratskhelia, not enough on it, and Arsenal come away with the ball, but they look to go direct to Saka quickly, and the duo of Mendes and Ruiz cut it out, and it goes out for a throw-in after cleared away off Mosquera. And right, if Arsenal get one, they might sit back a little bit. PSG have to come forward. If PSG score, that brings Arsenal out of their shell. As you said, the pace of the forward three of Doué, Dembele and Kvaratskhelia, not many are going to keep up with that in Europe. So the first goal will be ever so interesting.
No, it will be, and I think if PSG score, I think it also depends on who's on top when that goal is scored. I think if Arsenal have all of the possession and suddenly PSG hit them on the counter, that could really derail Arsenal in the game. And vice versa, if Arsenal are on top and they score, they might feel as though they have to sort of go out and try and score again, because of course we know that PSG at some stage should come good and should be the side that are going to see more of the balls. A bit of a shove in the back there on Bukayo Saka. Fabian Ruiz trying to argue with our referee, Mr. Seibert, that there's nothing there, but it's probably just a little bit too much. Referees in general this season, we've seen it across Europe, are trying to allow a little bit more physicality, but that was probably just too much.
Marcelo was a little bit of a shove at the back, as you say there, from Ruiz. On the left-hand side, Arsenal, bit of possession now. Trossard tries to play it along. Marquinhos deflects it away. It's going to fall for Havertz. He's got an opportunity to drive into the penalty area. He's a little bit wide. Goes for the strike. And Kai Havertz, he scored a winner in the Champions League final 5 years ago. Inside 5 minutes, he puts the Gunners a 1-0 up. A mistake at the back for PSG. What a strike from the German. As I said, he got that Champions League winner when Chelsea beat Manchester Manchester City 5 years ago. What a start for the Gunners. 5.5 minutes in, PSG 0, Arsenal 1.
Some of those Arsenal fans we just saw, they couldn't believe their eyes what they were seeing there. I mean, it's a fantastic finish from Havertz. It almost felt as though he was running out of options because he ran so far down that left-hand side. The angle for the shot was almost becoming impossible. Cutting it back for a teammate was also impossible because there were just too many PSG bodies in the way. Just takes one mistake. It's a ball forward from Nkapie, and then it's Marquinhos' ball deflects off Trossard into the path of Havertz. There was that touch into the box. I thought he overdoes it, but then he just roofs it over Safonov, who doesn't expect the shot at all. He's not really guarding his near post whatsoever. I mean, the ball does slam off the elbow of Leandro Trossard, but I can't believe VAR would be looking at that. But yeah, it's a great finish, but it's almost like Safonov is kneeling to try and stop the shot low down just as the shot is going over his shoulder. If he stands up straight, he might even just about save that.
Yeah, it's a great strike from the German, of course. It's such injury worries this past 18 months, give or take. It's only his 7th goal of the season. That'll be the most important one by far. I mean, you pointed out when I spoke to you earlier on before the game that, well, Kai Havertz has scored a winner in a Champions League final. I know it's very early on, but look, I'm sure Chelsea won that game 1-0. Could be the similar situation here.
Well, it certainly could be. And now, of course, it's going to force PSG to really come out of their shell. There's a strong challenge there on Lewis Skelly, and a couple of the Arsenal players immediately trying to let Mr. Seibert know. I mean, this may all be part of Arsenal's game plan just to try and slow things down immediately having scored. The idea is to try and keep PSG as far away from the ball as possible. But I'll tell you what, he's had his injury problems, but Kai Havertz has his 4th goal in 6 Champions League appearances this season, and that's why he's got the nod this evening over Gyökeres.
But also, I think, and this is so important in when you want to win a Premier League, you want to win a Champions League, that if you maybe Mikel Arteta going to Victor Gyökeres, yes, we brought you in for a big amount of money, it's a squad game. Kai Havertz has come on and scored. Victor Gyökeres come on and make it 2-0 in the 85th minute and you win the game, don't you? That's how big the squad has to be.
No, absolutely, yeah. I think that sometimes the way we the sort of the society we were in with the sort of the social media generation, players sometimes forget it is a team game and it is actually about doing your best for the team. Sometimes, it is all about you want to get the winning goal, you want to get that assist. We see defenders celebrating clearances and winning corners these days, don't we? So I think sometimes players just need to remember that it is a team game. We've got a bit of a break in play here now. It's just a bit of a raised boot there from Declan Rice, and that one did catch Fabian Ruiz. I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, anything those two chaps can do to get an advantage over the other, they're going to try and take, aren't they?
I think he catches him almost with the toe underneath his toe, I think, and that's whatever. If he catches him with his full foot, that's a different question, isn't it? But it's a bit of a scrape, and I can imagine, it's at the full pace of a run, it could be quite painful. PSG have picked up, and now they're flying forward down the right-hand side. Can they pick out a ball into the box? They can. Dembele looking for it, nodded away, and calmly taken away by Trossard now. So a bit of space, but now it is up to PSG to fire back. Trossard, lovely quick feet, but Hakimi ever so pacey, gets back, and he'll be a question. Of course, we already see that's the first time seen his right hamstring taped open. Of course, as I said, it's his first game back since he picked up that knock in the first leg against Bayern Munich. And again, it's one of them. We don't know if he's 100%, 20%, 50%. It could be that, look, Enrique said to him he'll want to play as well. Could you give me 60 minutes? How long can you give me? And we'll just go off of that.
No, I think that's exactly it. I think that it obviously means that just shows how important a player Hakimi is, that even though they can't really be precise on his fitness level, they still prefer him to actually start the game and then try and maybe piece things together if he has to go off later on in the game. As Bukayo Saka there looked like he was trying to get the ball off Dembele, just a little bit too much contact with the PSG man. But straight away, as soon as PSG have conceded, now all of a sudden they're not letting Arsenal have the ball. They're pushing forward now down the left-hand side.
Well, they've upped the intensity by just a little bit, but again, that means they're pushing forward, so Arsenal could hit on a counter-attack. Vitinha wins the ball, tries to dink it over the head of Declan Rice. Too big and strong is Rice, and he knocks it away. Offside as Havertz was trying to get back. That just shows how high of a line PSG have, because he just come back into his own half.
Yeah, I mean, he committed that challenge 10 yards inside his own half, and he did it from an offside position, which is saying something. But here come PSG now down the right-hand side, pushing towards the edge of the area.
Of course, one of the goal scorers in the final last year against Inter Milan. Pacho back to Nuno Mendes. 10 minutes on the clock. It's a warm welcome if you're joining us. Independent off-tube studio commentary. Champions League final. It's PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz, 6-minute strike, the difference maker. What a strike it was as well, right into the roof of the net. He's already scored, I've already said it. We'll repeat it many a times. They already scored a winner in the Champions League final. Could be a hero once again for the Gunners. PSG have kept all of the ball, as Paul rightfully said, since they've conceded almost. They've got the ball with Neves, Portuguese midfielder, to his national teammate in Nuno Mendes. Kvaratskhelia, you feel he's just always got something. There's so many players that, yes, PSG are a great team, but it's a great team of individuals that work really well together. Hakimi on the right-hand side into Due. He drives inside, very two-footed. Tries to dink one into the box, looking for Kvaratskhelia. Arsenal can't deal with it. They're two in the end to clear it away. Nearly fell for the Georgian Kvaratskhelia, but Gabriel Lass, it's a lovely, well-timed tackle. And again, maybe if he gets that wrong, Kvaratskhelia nearly sandwiched as well. It nearly fell kindly for the Georgian.
Well, the challenge from Gabriel was superb, but the defending that led to that situation wasn't great at all. There's now a short corner from PSG.
It's whipped into the back post. Is it kept in play, whether it is or not? Last off of Ruiz, so it would have gone out for a goal kick. It might have already gone out anyway, so goal kick regardless for Arsenal there. I think if anything, as you said, they've not got the height on the side of PSG, so maybe taking those short corner kicks, trying to still put balls in the box, work Arsenal around maybe. I don't think it was a terrible ball in from Dembele, but needs to be better.
No, it does, absolutely. I think that the short corner with a bit more of an angle to then whip the ball in is certainly the right idea, but execution just needs to be a little bit better. Arsenal, as they like to do, always playing up from the back before it's a long punt upfield from David Raya.
Almost trying to tease PSG into that press and then go long. Havertz and Marquinhos, good battle, but the Parisians' skipper comes away over and plays it to Pacho. 32 years of age now, Marquinhos, of course, been at PSG for ever so long. But I felt like it took him so long to really start. There was Thiago Silva and David Luiz for so long. Then Luiz moved back to Chelsea and he's 10 plus years, a full decade plus at PSG, and he's been a real stalwart and of course lifted that Champions League trophy last season. They're looking to go back to back, and who knows, back to back they might even challenge that three-peat of the great Real Madrid side all those years ago. Long ball over the top for Fabian Ruiz. There's no one in the box. If this is one across the face of goal, I say if he's across the face of goal, maybe he thinks, could someone get in there? But to me, I maybe think he's just thinking that there's no one there. Let me just hit it. Does it go on target? Could Raya force a corner? Maybe a bit of both.
He's definitely not crossing that, Lewis. Yeah. I don't think. I think you're right to say that because he has a look up just before the ball reaches him anyway, so he knows that there's nobody going to get into the penalty area. Slightly exasperated look on Luis Enrique there. Probably thinking both. Probably thinking, hey, why was there nobody in the box? And if there wasn't anyone in the box, why is Fabian putting that ball in like that? Yeah,
I think he's probably thinking, could you've held it up and wait for you to... That's one of the things, isn't it, that you watch his side, and that's why you say, if the old question were, if you had a striker there, he would put it in the box, but then to play this lovely football with that run of Fabian Ruiz, well, that's instead of Kvaratskhelia. Mendes gets away from Saka. He's going to bring it back, is the referee. But it was a good advantage. I mean, that'll be a clash. Attacking and defending Mendes against Saka.
It is, absolutely. And Nuno Mendes, he knows that he's got a tough job against Saka because Saka isn't just quick. He will be tenacious. He will try and win that ball back off Nuno Mendes, as we saw there. He very nearly did it, but just a little bit too much contact in the end.
So PSG to continue with possession. Marquinhos to Hakimi. So far, it's been a real tactical battle. Been a great watch. We're just about to hit the 15th minute mark, 14 minutes on the clock, if you will. Pacho at the back, just about halfway into the PSG half. Hakimi, Due dropping a little bit deeper into that midfield three. Plays it back to Marquinhos, just trying to up the tempo. And as Paul rightfully said earlier, PSG want to play out from the back, but they're not overly committed to it. As I say that, Safanov boots it long. There's not really anyone challenging for it, and they're waiting for a mistake from Arsenal. It might come now. Vitinho, is he blocked off there by Luis Skelly? Yes, he is. It was João Neves and Vitinho going for the ball, and Luis Skelly stands his ground, but also turns his back and his shoulder almost into Vitinho. So it is always going to be a foul there. Ruiz fizzes it out to Mendes on the left-hand side. Skelly offers an option more centrally. And again, for Arsenal, it's fantastic you've scored early. You've got the lead, of course. I mean, for the two neutrals us watching, it's great because, as you said, it opens it up a little bit more. But also PSG and Luis Enrique were thinking, yes, but that gives us so long to get an equaliser, go on to win it. There's still so long of this game to go.
It does, and I do hope from Arsenal's perspective they don't think that they're going to just sit back and defend for the rest of the game, because that against PSG is a very, very risky business. If PSG score at any time, then Arsenal suddenly have to change their mentality, whereas PSG are already in that sort of goal-scoring mindset anyway. anyway. So I think from Arsenal's point of view, yes, as soon as they scored, they were expecting a bit of an onslaught. And here come PSG now with a cross from the right-hand side from Hakimi. Just stopped on the line there by Hincapié. It's going to be a corner.
It will be a lovely play by Hakimi. Once again, not really packing the box there. But also what you would say is that meant there was a lot of players on the edge. And one thing this PSG side do have, to Rui, Safanov probably has got a good strike outside the area. They can all hit them really well outside the box. Saka with the clearance. Half-hearted shouts for a handball there. I think I don't know if it hit his hand. It was it's a broadcast angle. We've seen his back. That'd be very harsh.
There was certainly a swarm of PSG players around with the referee for a moment. Whether or not that's just a knee-jerk reaction to appeal a penalty, whether or not they genuinely felt as though there was a handball there that needed to be checked, we'll wait and see. But now Fabian Ruiz caught in possession.
He's ran himself into trouble. Havertz picks it off. Odegaard dinks it over the top, looking for the run of Trossard. Just a little bit too much on it, and Hakimi just gets in front of his man. Lets it roll back to the keeper. Looking at, we might see a replay now. He goes to clear it. It's the left hand. Is it the left hand?
It is the left hand. I mean, the thing is, the ball's been sort of dead at the edge of the PSG penalty area for a few seconds. I suppose VAR could have paused it by then. I mean, the way he turns, there's a second ricochet off his left hand, isn't there, which doesn't look great. It depends on whether they see that as being deliberate, as whether he was trying to avoid it. But that's something that VAR may have to consider.
Also, you've seen a stat possession, 80% to 20, give or take, for PSG. 22 passes for Arsenal, 1 goal. So if they could get every 22 passes a goal, they'll be scoring.
They'll take that all day long. But by the way, we should just add as well, the ball has gone out for a throw, and we have restarted play immediately. So obviously, no check for a penalty. If there was a check, they've already completed it.
I will say, I think you're right as well. I think it'd be. That again, I always think sometimes with these handballs, if that happened to Kvaratskhelia on his own box, with PSG, you've just got to think sometimes, as you said, I think you're spot on, a bit of an knee-jerk reaction of, handball. Really, it probably isn't. I'll bring Paul in a moment as Kvaratskhelia has it on the left-hand side, cuts inside. Fabian Ruiz thought he was going to try and play it out from left to right into Vitinha, former Wolves man, of course. Kvaratskhelia out to the right to Dembele. Lovely pass, reverse into Kvaratskhelia, tries to take a touch and back heels it into Dembele. His first touch is lovely, the back heel gets his stun on the ball but doesn't get the roll of the ball, so Arsenal pick it up. But again, they're so deep, and you're right, as you said, Paul, if they defend for, we're just hitting 18 minutes on the clock. If they defend for the rest of this game, PSG will, I think, score at least one. And as you rightfully said, then you've got to change your game plan. Don't mind doing it for maybe a little while. Tries to go past Saka and Mosquera. It's well defended by the winger and the full back. Saka picks it up and back to Mosquera. It's one of the things that maybe if Arsenal just say, right, once we scored 10-15 minutes, we'll just sit back, let the storm happen, then we'll grow back into the game. But if they do this up until half-time and beyond, PSG will create one big chance.
No, they will. I think that from Arsenal's point of view, what's important for them is not to be in that mindset of just sitting back. They have to try and play when they get the ball. Twice we've seen PSG giving the ball away in midfield positions. Arsenal, their first thought is to always go back with it. Maybe if they can try and just push at PSG a little bit more. Saka does well to win a header there against Nuno Mendes, but then the second ball just drops to William Paco anyway. He can send him back towards Safanov. I think Arsenal, ideal for them to have scored early. Just as long as their plan isn't to just sit back and soak up pressure for the rest of the game, then I think they can certainly navigate this, but they have to be very careful.
100%. Neves on the ball, halfway into his own half. Ruiz on the left-hand side. Kvaratskhelia is deeper inside, so there's no real run on the left-hand side. At the moment, Dembele almost in the right half space, and Doué is the more central forward player for PSG. Dembele, the current holder of the Ballon d'Or, on the ball. I can imagine as well, if his side were to win this and maybe even wins the World Cup, might be on for back-to-back Ballon d'Ors at the former Dortmund and Barcelona man. Hakimi, a bit too slow there for once. Hincapié really well defended there, and again, the 3 shocks for me, I mean maybe 4, and this is no offence to the players who are starting, but Eze not starting was a shock to me. Louis Skelly starting was a shock to me, and you can see at full-back, you can bring them on, there's no problem. Hincapié on the left, Mosquera on the right. It's almost 4 central defenders playing, and that will obviously help out Arsenal tremendously at the back.
Yes, it will. In the defensive sense, I have no problem with Mosquera and with Hincapié starting. Louis Skelly, I do think it is a real gamble to play him as a holding midfielder in a game like this, when arguably Arsenal have 3 better holding midfielders on their bench.
100%. He's on the bench, of course. for the Gunners. Got that Skelly on the left. Of course, he was brought in as someone for the big fee as well as his. I mean, Lewis Skelly, he almost fell out a bit of favour. Then he's found a bit of favour, hasn't he? But most of his time he's played at left back in that inverted.
He has. Yeah,
role.
I mean, it's rare to see him playing in a central midfield role. That's why, in a big game like this, it did seem like a risk. But obviously, Arteta would have had his reasons for doing it, and so far, it's working for Arsenal. But PSG on the attack again.
Doué on the right-hand side, back to Marquinhos. Everyone about halfway into the Arsenal half. Senior looks for the long ball over the top for Hakimi, but as I say, everyone's about halfway into the Arsenal half. There's no space in behind for balls like that. Trossard turns his man Havertz. Again, everyone, even when Arsenal are in the ball, are in the Arsenal half, as we spoke about how high of a line PSG will hold. Great tackle there from Pacho, putting out of play for a throw-in for Arsenal. Just having a quick look at the stats. 78 possession, give or take, so closing in on 80 for the Parisians. 2 shots in the game, 1 for PSG. That went wider. Seeing and believe they have. Yes, Fabian Ruiz's has counted as a strike. The left-footed half of volley effort. The goal for Havertz, the only strike for Arsenal. 1 shot, 1 shot on target, 1 goal. Here come Arsenal down the left-hand side with Trossard. Back into Havertz, looking to link up. Can Rice keep it in play? Can. He's done well to deflect it off of his opponent. No, he hasn't. The linesman has given it as a throw-in for PSG. So far, of course, very tense start to the game. Can imagine. I think regardless of the scoreline, both teams are kind of playing how they would have at 0-0. Maybe Arsenal have, to a degree, gone back a little bit more just to weather the PSG storm, but it's so tense.
It is tense. I think because Arsenal scored so early, it's almost hard to gauge just how well PSG had started, but certainly the goal seemed to wake PSG up in their final third because they were doing almost nothing going forward whilst it was still 0-0.
PSG and Arsenal, a bit of head tennis in the middle. Do it, lovely first touch there into Vitinha. He looks to dink it over the top for Dembele. Saliba slices his clearance and Dembele nods it back to the left-hand side to Skelly. You just feel again he could come alive at any moment. Similar to a Dembele, similar to a Saka for Arsenal. The Georgian trying to dance past Mosquera. Well held up there, and he does well to win it and clear it off of Ruiz for a throw-in for Arsenal. Gets a round of applause from Saka getting back. And as well, whether you're a full-back or a centre-back playing out there, Mosquera can play there as well. There's just going to be a pause in play, actually. There's going to be a drinks break, it looks like. At Budapest at the moment, looks to be about 24, 25 degrees. So even though it's the evening time, very, very warm. As well, a lot of these players go into the World Cup, so you can imagine just instinctively trying to get used to that right, we're going to halfway through each half have a little bit of a break. If you join us, it is a warm welcome. 23 minutes have been played. We're into the 24th. It is independent off-tube studio commentary of the Champions League final from the Puskás Stadium in Budapest, Hungary. It's PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal taking the lead inside the first 6 minutes with Kai Havertz's 4th goal in the competition. The German's been in and out of the side with injuries here, there and everywhere, but what a moment he's had. Just watching it back now, and what a start we have had to the game. If you're joining us, I say it's a drinks break, so we'll be back underway shortly. But again, just looking at as I was saying before, we just went for that drinks break. If you're Mosquera and Trossard's doing it, Saka's doing it, PSG will do it. Mosquera, when you just get that round of applause from Saka and he's coming out and helping you, you just know that Mosquera doesn't feel on his own on an island against Kvaratskhelia. He knows he's going to get that support, and that just helps everyone, I think, just go, if he's working, I'm going to work, and you've got that good team chemistry, of course.
No, you do, and certainly an early goal like that is going to work to certainly gel that for Arsenal. I think from PSG's point of view, I mean, look, just see Luis Enrique there. The conceding that early goal would have been an issue for them, but I think you made the point very, very well that it's so early to concede a goal that you really do have a lot of time, and PSG won't panic at all. They are a side that they haven't got a perfect defence by any stretch, but they know that their main strength is they can outscore anybody.
PSG back underway. PSG 0, Arsenal will be throwing for Arsenal just inside their own, nearly the corner flag on the right hand side for Mosquera. 24, approaching 25 minutes on the clock. It's PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Independent off-tube studio commentary of the Champions League final. And to take us through to half-time, pass you over to Paul.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Yes, and it's a nice warm early evening in Budapest, and as is often, I always feel a little bit frustrated for the fans when this happens, but the goal that Arsenal scored was scored at the opposite end to where all the Arsenal fans are, apart from a few Arsenal fans that have made their ways into the neutral section that's sort of halfway around the stadium. All the main Arsenal end is literally at the other end of the ground where David Raya is stood in front of right now. But they certainly would have had a long distance view of what Havertz did, getting that ball into the roof of the net. A fantastic finish from a tight angle. And Arsenal now pushing forward. Lewis Skelly finding Odegaard, and Odegaard over towards Saka on the right-hand side, gets to the edge of the area. Low ball in. Safanov has missed it. There's half a chance at the edge of the area. The goalkeeper stayed down holding his head, so we are going to get an injury stoppage now, so that the Russian keeper can be checked over. But out of nowhere, suddenly Arsenal with a very good chance to potentially double their lead.
I think that's what they're trying to do out of their Arsenal, of course, defend and defend. And they've got a solid base for it, and when they can hit, they've got obviously the great second players. Watching back, just Trossard, I think his left boot, it's not anything malicious, he's just dragging, unfortunately, his left boot. And I think he's at the back of the right side of the head.
Arguably, it could even be the knee of Mosquera. There's of Marquinhos, I beg your pardon, that could have done that. Because I'm not sure that it's definitely, but to say Safanov needs to be checked over. And it's Chevalier and Marine are the two sub-keepers on the bench for PSG this evening. And already we can see those two gentlemen warming up just in case.
And as well, to me, harbours back to 2018 with Karius for Liverpool of a possible concussion. He stayed on, and this is what with was it the Benzema goal that he booted off of him, and that's because of the concussion with Safanov. It could be a similar situation, couldn't it? That he plays on, he'll want to play on, of course. And well, Chevalier as well. He said came in to replace Donnarumma. Didn't work out, lost his spot. What a moment it maybe could be for him, a bit of redemption. This is no offence to Safanov, but that he comes on and maybe makes a big save in the game and kind of a bit of redemption for the French goalkeeper.
But no, it is. I think that certainly Chevalier will be looking at that, thinking that you never hope that any of your teammates are going to be injured, but sort of a part of him, we're thinking that if he can get on, he can certainly end up being a hero for his side. It doesn't look great for Safanov at the moment. He's still being checked over. They're trying to get to that pack of ice just in between his ponytail and the back of his head there to see whether or not he's able to play on. But it's looking a little bit bleak for him at the moment. Let's hope that it's nothing too serious. We can see all kinds of stars. Luis Figo sat next to Arsene Wenger. There in the stands. Arsene Wenger, of course, came very close to winning the Champions League with Arsenal. Couldn't quite manage it. See two former Everton managers sat next to each other there, Roberto Martinez and Rafa Benitez as well.
Yeah, it's a Champions League final, all host of names, wasn't it? So that Thierry Henry bringing the Champions League out with Kim Pembe, of course, two players from 20 years ago, of course. Arsene Wenger, you've already mentioned. Thierry Henry were in the final against Barcelona. So, and again, what would be worrying for Arsenal is they did go 1-0 up in that game as well and lost 2-1 to Barcelona.
They did, albeit they had a red card for their goalkeeper in that game, didn't they? Was it Lehmann? Well, Lehmann was sent off. Yeah, it was Sol Campbell with a goal. Lehmann with the red card. Yeah, it was. I remember that night very well. Actually, I remember watching that game, and it's before my commentary days. But I do remember that game, and I do remember. The same with Arsenal winning the league 2 years previously. If you'd have said to me in 2004 that it's going to take until 26 before Arsenal win the league again, I would have been amazed. And similarly, if you'd have said to me back in 2006 that it's going to take until 26 for Arsenal to be in a Champions League final again, I wouldn't have believed that either. So it just goes to show how things have been difficult for the North London side. They have, of course, built themselves a fantastic new stadium and an amazing training ground complex. And financially, they are a very stable business, of course. But now fans will be hoping that things can improve even more on the pitch. The fact that father and son Kroenke brought out the trophy last Sunday at Selhurst Park, I think is quite meaningful because, of course, there has been a lot of complaints from Arsenal fans in the past that perhaps the Kroenkes weren't as involved in the football side and actually just saw Arsenal as a business. And I think that they're trying to sort of redress that and say, no, we do actually want to see sporting success as well.
Yeah, 100%. It almost felt like the owners of the Nuggets in the NBA, they were more bothered about that than Arsenal, but recently they've done very well. Here come PSG.
Yeah, here come PSG. They want to respond after that long break there with the injury to their keeper. It's down the right-hand side. The ball into the penalty area is deflected away. It was run from Dembele. He has it back again in that very fluid role that he has. He's got a couple of options, and one of those is Doué, but he just rolls it back into midfield here now for Vitinha. 25 yards out. Vitinha back towards Dembele. There's four waiting in the box if he can pick out a cross. He does pick out a cross, but the header clear is from Gabriel. Then there's a bit of a tumble inside the penalty area. Referee Siebert says play on. There is a PSG player down inside the penalty area holding his ankle. That doesn't look too good, but for the time being, PSG wants to play on, and it's in their interest too because they're the ones that need the time right now. I think they're going to be forced to put the ball out of play in a minute. It looks like, I'm trying to see who that is inside. Is that Nuno Mendes inside the penalty area? It is, isn't it? He's ended up on the right-hand side and then ended up inside the penalty area. Referee still says play on. The ball's played into the box. Vitinha then lays it off. Great chance in now. A good challenge coming in. The referee says that was just the ball that was won. Trossard then rolling it back to Nkapie, who just clears it over towards the halfway line. Whereas Nuno Mendes is still writhing around in pain. I have to say I'm being a little bit dubious about this because he seems to be spending more time looking at where the referee is rather than actually checking his injury. And now the PSG have kicked it out. Referee will sort of casually walk over to him, but Nuno Mendes is going to be fine now.
Yeah, it was almost as you say, look up, oh, is the referee looking at me? Is the referee looking at me? Watching it back. As you said, it's coming together. Get both. Neve, Gabriel and Nuno Mendes are both watching the ball be cleared. And it's just a clash of ankles, isn't it? That unfortunately, Gabriel steps on his ankle. So it's a sore one, of course. Not a foul at all. As we said, it's just both players ball watching, collision coming together. Mendes came off worst. Yeah, Mendes came off worst. He's back on his feet now. No need for the physio on this occasion. Arsenal were sportingly returned the ball back to PSG. We've just ticked by 31 minutes here at the Puskás Arena in Budapest, where it's PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz with the goal on 6 minutes. We are going to get a fair amount of injury time. We did have a drinks break and we had an injury break due to the goalkeeper Safanov being down. So I'm thinking probably about 5 minutes already. And there's still a bit more time to go. But a long ball now played towards the edge of the area. David Raya rushes out. He wanted to catch that ball, but Fabian Ruiz was very close to him, to Spain's teammates there. And in the end, Raya forced to clear that one out quickly. It's a throw-on taken. Kvaratskhelia then back towards Nuno Mendes. Vitinha looking up at options just in front of him. Exchanging passes with Kvaratskhelia, now playing it back towards Marquinhos. Here is Dembele. Now seems to be preferring that role on the right-hand side, playing it back towards Vitinha. Switching over towards Nuno Mendes, down the left-hand side to Fabian Ruiz. Four waiting inside the penalty area, but no options here really for PSG to get the cross and just prefer to go back into midfield again. Vitinha going square to Hakimi. Down the right-hand side now for Dembele. Gets across in, it's headed back towards that right-hand side. Back towards Hakimi. He plays it back towards Marquinhos. It's all PSG around 35 yards out from Arsenal's goal, but no way to get into the penalty area. Fabian Ruiz now trying down the left to get it in towards Kvaratskhelia. He looks up, but that first touch from Kvaratskhelia, straight away he knows there's just no options for a cross because there are too many red shirts inside that penalty area. Now it's with Vitinha, 40 yards out from goal. He plays it square towards Hakimi, down towards the right-hand side. And again, just all avenues closed for PSG inside that Arsenal penalty area right now. And I'm not saying you've got to play out in your own penalty area, maybe a ball over the top here. Here come PSG.
Yeah, ball into the box. It was Dembele. He couldn't carry on his run. He then laid it off towards Hakimi. It's back with this man Dembele. He wants to pull the trigger. Left-footed clip ball into the box in the end. He overhits that. There was a moment there where I thought he wanted to go for goal himself. Then he almost changed his mind. And then by the time he decided he wanted to put the cross in, there just wasn't enough space to work with. A real powerful body check there in the middle from William Paco. But no foul on Kai Havertz, says the referee. PSG back in possession. And they're off down the right-hand side now with Doué. Into the penalty area, cross, charge down, and it's out for a corner.
It is, and that's much better. Well, what I was going to say before PSG went on top is I'm not trying to sit here and say you've got to go back to your goalkeeper play out, but I feel that because Arsenal's so compact, you've got to go back to push Arsenal out. The corner's taken quickly again.
Yeah, it's taken quickly back towards the edge of the area. Vitinha. And going over towards Nuno Mendes, ball into the box. Oh, it takes an awkward bounce, but that's well dealt with by Declan Rice. Loose ball then not so well dealt with by Bukayo Saka. He then, I can see this is going to cause issues here. I'll say very quickly what happened. The ball was put out for a throw. And PSG wanted to restart the game quickly, so they booted the old match ball away, and it just happened to deflect off Mikel Arteta's foot, and then it came back on the pitch. That very quick throw that PSG were wanting to take couldn't be taken as quickly. Arteta, of course, did nothing wrong as far as he's concerned, but the fourth official having a quick word with him as the cross coming in from the right-hand side. Dembele felt as though his shirt was being pulled. Referee disagrees. It's just a throw to a PSG on the right-hand side, taken quickly, and all the way back to the halfway line.
It is, and this is just every man behind the ball at the moment, isn't it? That's all it is. But here they come, PSG.
Yes, they do. A half a chance at the edge of the area. The ball then played back towards the halfway line. Fabian Ruiz, that's not a good touch though there from Nuno Mendes. Shows too much of that to Declan Rice, who then runs into 3 PSG players, but just about has enough time to find Mosquera, then plays a really good ball down that right channel. That's going to be a free kick in favour of Arsenal. Just a little bit too much aggression there from Nuno Mendes. He wasn't happy, neither was his manager, but Arsenal will take that free kick well into PSG territory all day long.
Oh, the will, and that's one thing. That was Declan Rice to a T, wasn't it? He sniffed out the danger before. It was a poor passage here, but sniffed it out, and then he drove forward. And he just played it back to Mosquera, and he just dinks the ball into Saka. And you can see that all day long. Saka just had the ball. And he knows he's going nowhere. Knows he can win a set piece for his side as well. And he just puts his body in the way. And again, maybe that's a bit of frustration boiling over for Mendes. Just that little bit of a, I've had enough of you, just a bit of a shock.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, again, he's got to be a little bit more, he's got to be wiser than Nuno Mendes, because, as you say, Saka was going nowhere. There wasn't that much support from him, even if he was able to get away from the first challenge. Who's he going to pass the ball to? But Arsenal now with a free kick, and it's the right foot to Declan Rice, out swinging from the right-hand side, headed up in the air. It's not a good header, though, from Hincapié, and actually there was a push in the middle of that penalty area from Gabriel. So the ball goes out for a goal kick anyway, but it's going to be a free kick, I think, after all of that, as Fabian Ruiz was pushed.
Yeah, I think it's watching it back.
It might have actually been Gabriel landing. Oh, yes, it's Gabriel landing on Fabian Ruiz after he was fouled. That's what's caused the issue there. But thankfully, Fabian Ruiz is okay, and PSG have restarted, but given the ball away on the halfway line. Hincapié then, I thought he might have been fouled, but the referee says no, and now it's Vitinha charging forward here for PSG. He's been followed all the way by Declan Rice, but he still gets the ball out to Dembele. Dembele into the penalty area, left-footed strike, charged down by the sliding challenge there of Gabriel before it's then volleyed clear by Trossard out towards the halfway line, where Havertz was trying to take the ball down. He does really well, and Trossard has now joined him in midfield, but he's been robbed of the ball there by Doué. Then tries to come back in. Referee gives an advantage because PSG still on the attack now with Desiré Doué at the edge of the area. Odegaard wins the ball off him. Referee says no foul, and Lewis Skelly then going square to Declan Rice. There's a real fighting quality about this Champions League final, which I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, you spoke about earlier about trying to give a little bit more. I think that Odegaard, I thought, was a great tackle from the Gunners skipper, but you might have seen that given in past years of the tournament. Lovely play by Saliba.
Oh, superb, yeah. He, like a cultured midfielder there, stepped out of defence, ghosted past a couple of players before finding a decent pass to Havertz in midfield. He then went back towards Hincapié, who finds Trossard on the left-hand side, back in towards Saliba. Lewis Skelly being closed down there by João Neves, but he finds enough time just to get that ball out towards Trossard. And this is quite well thought out from Arsenal, really, whether it's intentional. But now they're just trying to slow things down, a little bit more possession. Just as I say that, long clearance from Raya goes a little bit askew. But 222 completed passes from PSG to Arsenal's 45, but Arsenal won't care a jot.
Well, I think even if it was 0-0, you'd probably sit there and go, Arsenal are quite happy, because this is what Arsenal want to do. And maybe if PSG have had 2 or 3 shots, that might be a little bit different, wouldn't it? But 1-0 up, PSG haven't had that real clear-cut chance. I think that Dembele strike might have been the second or third shot as a total. So Arsenal 1-0 up, they'll be happy with defending, sitting back, because they're frustrating the Parisians at the moment.
No, they are. I think they really are frustrating the side from Paris right now. And from Luis Enrique's point of view, he'll be thinking, just looking at that bench, I mean, they have got a very, very strong 11 already, but we both said before the game, you mentioned Barcola. I think it's inevitable that he's going to get on, particularly if PSG are losing at any stage in the second half. I think I would expect to see Bradley Barcola. Certainly one option. But in terms of Arsenal, they have got plenty of midfield options to really try and pad out that middle of the park if they're looking to try and hold on to this lead in the second half. But it's still a long way to go, of course. 6 minutes plus, probably about 5 or 6 minutes of added time in this first half. PSG on the attack down the right-hand side. Hakimi with a lovely little dance and then across into the box. It's not the best header away there from Mosquera. He leaves it at the edge of the area here for Kvaratskhelia. He plays it back to Nuno Mendes. His cross is just a little bit too far away from Dembele. And then Havertz just follows that ball to make sure it goes out for a throw to Arsenal. Then Havertz gets checked there by Hakimi, who is going to get a yellow card for that. I don't think the right back can argue too much about that one. The linesman just giving the referee a first-hand account of what he saw. Havertz is saying that he was grabbed by the throat. That's probably a little bit of an exaggeration to say. Well, I'm saying that there was an arm across him there.
I think it's one of them where there's no doubt, as you said, he catches him. I think it's how he goes down, as if he has really... I mean, I can imagine he does get a little bit of it, doesn't he? It's more the inside of the elbow. He is trying to get the ball, and as soon as Hakimi tries to put his arm, Havertz it away. I thought it was going to get a card. We haven't got confirmation, so I don't think it has been, but I wouldn't have been surprised if it was. PSG have the ball.
They do have the ball. I think this referee is joining another long line of referees that seem to really have to wait a very long time to give out their first yellow card, because that probably was worthy of one. Particularly when you think of how the linesman reacted. There seemed to be a real sort of urgency from the assistant to come across and just calm down Hakimi there. So, that probably just about, I would say, was warranting a yellow card. But for the time being, confirmation there was no confirmation of a yellow card. It is still as PSG 0, Arsenal 1. And no bookings in the game as yet. Kai Havertz with the goal for Arsenal on 6 minutes as a long ball played out from the back here by Fabian Ruiz is cleared. Played all the way back in towards the PSG half here. Fabian Ruiz now down the left-hand side finding Nuno Mendes. And he tries an early ball towards the edge of the area. It's not the best clearance there from Gabriel. He's left it at the edge of the area. And Hakimi makes a real mess of that. Arsenal could just be grateful that it's almost like PSG weren't expecting that gift of possession there. There's Odegaard was brought down potentially. Referee says no, just play on. João Neves now with the ball for PSG down towards the right-hand side for Hakimi. Back towards João Neves again. Edge of the area. Hakimi then playing it in towards Kvaratskhelia. Attacking three for PSG really is very fluid, but almost too much so, I think, sometimes. It's almost like they all want to sort of gravitate to one side or the other, and they forget there has to be someone playing through the middle as well.
Yeah, and they always want to come to the ball, don't they? Kvaratskhelia wants to run in behind. Dembele does. Fabian Ruiz does. Vitinha wants to go to the ball. João Neves wants to go to the ball. And that's been the problem, that when you have the runners, it works very well. When you don't have the runners, everyone's like, give me the ball, let me do this. Give me the ball, let me do this. It's very hard. And again, when you saw that ball, I thought it was a great idea for Mendes to try and curl it around Gabriel, read it superbly. But when he cleared it away in the air, Gabriel, there was 6 players to Arsenal to the 3 of PSG. No matter how good you are, that's just too much numbers to overcome.
No, it is. And in that time when it's up in the air, those double the numbers are going to work against you, because they're all going to get into position and there'll be no way for you to get any change out of that at all. So it is something that PSG need to think about, they need to address, but they're trying to get forward again here now with Vitinha, 25 yards out from goal, over on the right-hand side, square now to Kvaratskhelia, just at the edge of the deal. He thought about going for goal, changes his mind, just goes square to Fabian Ruiz, then it's down the left here for Nuno Mendes, all the way into the penalty area, gets into the byline, fires it across the 6-yard box, and then it causes a bit of a melee inside the penalty area before eventually is nodded away for a goal kick. The ball fired across the 6-yard box, it then deflected up in the air. And there's just a little bit of good fortune for Arsenal that it deflects away from any Arsenal players.
I mean, that's
from any PSG players, I should say.
You're spot on. That's fantastic from Nuno Mendes. First time he's really took on Mosquera. And I think Mosquera's been great, but that's the one thing you would say is he hasn't got that turn of foot because he's a central defender. Timber maybe reads that a little bit better, if you will. But what he does well, Mendes, is he gets to the byline and just puts the ball in that could come off of anyone and go in the back of the net. And unfortunately, Fabian Ruiz, if that falls a bit kinder for him, he could have put that in the back of the net.
No, he really could have. And just a couple of minutes to go now until we hit injury time. But that's certainly a warning for Arsenal. Not really seen the fullback. We've certainly seen the fullbacks get forward. We've not really seen the fullbacks trying to take on the last man, trying to drop a shoulder and actually work their way into the box. And as soon as Nuno Mendes and indeed Achraf Hakimi on the other side, as soon as they start doing that, that's when Arsenal really need to be even more alert, because it's just starting to get a little bit last ditch now from Arsenal, the way they're starting to defend the edge of their own penalty area now rather than trying to defend the middle of the park like they were when they initially took the lead. And the ball now played back towards the edge of the PSG penalty area. Not the best clearance actually from Marquinhos, headed forward there by Gabriel. It almost ended up being a good through ball to Saka. The Arsenal players just ahead of Saka weren't really paying attention to that. Doué now has it back for PSG. He's over the halfway line. He's got 4 players to work with ahead of him. Goes with the outside of the boot towards Kvaratskhelia. Left-hand edge of the penalty area. Kvaratskhelia then cuts back onto his right. Gets further and further away from goal in the end, going back towards Marquinhos. Now it's with Dembele. Onto his left foot, Dembele lifts that a long way over the bar. He's been waiting to do that all evening, really, Dembele. Hasn't really had a chance to do it. And just that sort of grimace of frustration there from Dembele, because he knows that was a good opportunity as Thierry Henry looks on very nervously. But overall, those Arsenal fans we're looking at now can be fairly pleased.
Yeah, they can, and I'm sure they'll probably sit there. We're at the stoppage for Savin over at the drinks break. We could be looking at 4 or 5 minutes, maybe stoppage time, so we've still got a little bit to go. Maybe one more chance PSG could create, but that 15 minutes I could probably assume there'll be a lot of joy. We're 1-0 up, and then that second half will kick off and they'll go, the longer it goes at 1-0, the more think about it, the closer you get to it. PSG, look, again, you just feel that the one chance will fall for them.
Yes,
one big one.
I agree. I think that one chance will fall for PSG, and it's whether or not Arsenal can take their chance. We are going to get 6 minutes of added time. It's slightly confusing. Never seen a fourth official putting a 0 up with the 6 before, just in case anyone thought it was a 16. But we are going to get 6 minutes of added time at the end of this first half, which is about right. As I say, we had a long pause for Sofanov's injury. We had a drinks break. And, of course, any time a goal is scored, you can add a minute on just for that, with the celebrations and then getting ready for the restart. But from Luis Enrique's point of view, Luis, do you think that at half-time he's going to expect sort of wholesale changes in approach or tactics, or is it just a case of more of the same, we are going to wear them down eventually?
I'd say more of the same. It's one of them, isn't it? Because PSG haven't played a bad game. I think just Arsenal have played a better game, realistically. They've got the early goal. Again, maybe if it's 0-0, you are happier because you go, yeah, we're 0-0, but they're not winning. I mean, you're just thinking Nuno Mendes, he's been the bright spark. I mean, here comes Kvaratskhelia, he could make something out of absolutely nothing. Yeah,
that's what PSG might need, because just through sort of linear possession right now, it's not really working out for Enrique's side, but we know they've got 2 or 3 players in that starting 11 who really can do something out of nothing. And in fact, all 3 of the front 3, whether it's Dembele, Doué or Kvaratskhelia, fit into that category as a ball into the box. A strong challenge there. A couple of PSG players asking the question whether it was a handball or a foul. Referee's not interested. PSG now back in possession here on the left-hand side with Kvaratskhelia. Just drops the shoulder, going back in towards Nuno Mendes. Vitinha now square to Hakimi. Doué, right-hand edge of the penalty area, got 4 to aim for inside the box, just rolling it back towards Marquinhos. Marquinhos then square to Vitinha, just at the edge of the area. Now a strike coming in from Doué, but the ironic arms up in the air from the Arsenal fans behind that goal. I think one lady there had to really do some evasive action to stop that ball from hitting a square in the face. But the point is, it's a shot that's a long way over the bar.
Yeah, it's one of the another great tackle from Gabriel on John Evans. You do just think, when you're defending for that long, you're putting so much into the game, could there be a mistake in a tackle like that later on in the game as the game goes on? Again, you spoke about, to me, Barcola comes on, runs at your man. Mosquera's defended. Barcola comes on with fresh legs. It's just that little mistake, you clip him, it's a penalty. It could be something like that. I'm sure that's what PSG are maybe looking for.
Yeah, any sort of fine margin now will suit PSG just to try and get a little bit of an edge. But right now it's Arsenal trying to get into the final third as Saka headed it on for Havertz. Mosquera's ball, lovely link up. Havertz into the box. He could go for goal here. Havertz, as he brought down the ball, then deflects up in the air before it's caught by Safanov. But that came out of absolutely nowhere. Arsenal struggling to get any kind of possession at all, never mind possession in the final third. And suddenly a quick triangle, a quick overlapping pass, and before you know it, Havertz was in again.
I mean, that just shows that, yes, Arsenal can defend world-class defensively, but when they do pull the strings like that, that would have been one of the best goals of the season, team goals, wouldn't it? It's a little triangles linking up together. And that's what PSG have just got to area of that, yeah, you do play a very dangerous defensive game.
You do, absolutely, as Kvaratskhelia now down the left-hand side. Back in towards Nuno Mendes, square to Vitinha. Vitinha then looking up, thought about playing it long, just going square towards Dembele. There's an overlap as well there. Hincapi is charging in, but there's a really telling touch there from Havertz to put the ball out. We saw Hakimi charging over on the overlap. I was hoping we were going to see a replay of that chance for Arsenal as well, but PSG aren't wasting any time in wanting to take this corner kick. The referee is in fact holding us up now. Some pushing and shoving there, Fabian Ruiz on David Raya. So now Daniel Seibert saying that we can have play resumed here with this corner kick from the right-hand side. It's lifted up here by Dembele. Oh, it's over here. It's easily headed away by Saliba. Loose ball is with Vitinha about 30 yards out. He then turns and plays the ball out towards the left for Fabian Ruiz, who volleys that across goal. David Raya makes a bit of a mess of catching that, but in the end he does fall onto it and takes the sting out of it. Arsenal still leading 1-0.
Again, I know it's a little bit further out, but very similar to what he did almost earlier, wasn't it? He's going for goal, but he's almost, can Raya make a mistake, someone latch onto it? Does Gabriel stick a leg out when it goes over the goalkeeper, just trying to almost force Arsenal into mistakes. And again, it's just so mentally draining defending for as long as they are for Arsenal, so you can make mistakes.
No, it absolutely is, and it's not something that Arsenal were used to day to day in Premier League games. Barring away to Man City or Liverpool, you don't really have to play like this in many other Premier League games if you're an Arsenal side. So, but they have rattled PSG. There's no doubt about that. Whilst PSG have improved at various times in this first half, overall, I still think that they're way off their best levels, and some of the passing has been wayward, and some of the decision making in the final third's not been great either.
No, it hasn't. And just watching that play back, as you say, I think Havertz, unfortunately, his touch is a little bit heavy. If it's a lighter touch, I think he takes it and he gets the strike off. It's a great tackle by Marquinhos to win the ball.
It is a great challenge. We've pretty much had the 6 minutes of added time now. Probably only about under 30 seconds of it left here now at the Puskas Arena in the first half. But Arsenal have won themselves a throw on. It's level with the edge of the area. So that means that Declan Rice is going to try and launch this into the box. This will be the last chance of the first half, and Arsenal will be very pleased with that. Probably isn't enough time now for PSG to go up the other end. As Rice is ready with this one. Long throw from him towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed up in the air. Still needs to be dealt with. Cappy's underneath it. Was he pushed off in? Oh, the ball's ended, nodded out for a corner, so Arsenal still with a chance.
Forward there as well, you would say, is probably Arsenal from the ball going out for a throw in, wasted about 30 seconds of time. Credit to them, that's what they're doing. I mean, Havertz asking for the corner. The referee pointed to a goal kick, so I mean, it did last come off of Pacho, to be quite honest. So we'll wait and see what the referee's decision is.
Yeah, in the end, he has given it as a corner. And, generally speaking, barring that one viral clip from a World Cup many years ago, referees don't blow for half-time just before a corner kick. But I think the referee is doing exactly that. Yeah, he's saying that Arsenal are taking too long with the corner kick. I genuinely, as I say, you're listening to radio commentary, so you think I saw that. I genuinely didn't know the referee was about to blow for half-time. I was about to mention that time when the half was ended, just when the ball was in the air. But now the corner wasn't even taken. It is PSG 0, Arsenal 1 in Budapest, and we're back in 15 minutes.
Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance. And at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. Arsenal lead PSG 1-0 at half-time in the Champions League final. It was a mistake at the back from Marquinhos. A clearance deflected off of Trossard meant that it fell kindly for Havertz, and the German travelled well into the box and hit a ferocious strike high into the net to give the Gunners an early lead. They defended ever so well. PSG yet to really open up the Gunners and create a chance, and at half-time it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Thanks to Kai Havertz. A 6-minute strike. And it is a warm welcome back to this evening's independent off-tube studio commentary of all the action from the Puskás Stadium in Budapest, Hungary, as PSG take on Arsenal in the Champions League final. Early on, here comes Kvaratskhelia down the left-hand side, plays it into the box, opportunity cleared away by Gabriel. A fast and furious start to the second half. It's PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz, 6th minute strike of the difference maker. PSG really didn't force Arsenal into too many mistakes. Arsenal defended very, very well. The best chance really maybe coming from a Dembele strike just outside the area that was blocked away. They didn't really create too much in terms of chances, did PSG. It was a very early goal, it has to be said. Mosquera looks like he's going to pick up a booking here for maybe time wasting already from a throw-in. Referee this evening is the German Daniel Seibert. We saw maybe a little bit of time wasting possibly at the back end of the first half. It's myself, Lewis Rafter. I'm joined by Paul Shabakovic. I'll take you through the 11s in a moment. There's been no changes, but how do you see the second half going, Paul?
Well, if we're going to get a yellow card for someone taking a throw-on too long, if they're taking too long to take a throw-on inside their own half, then that's a nice setup for the rest of this second half. Arsenal can't waste too much time, and actually that yellow card from the referee there may actually work in Arsenal's favour, in so much that it will remind them that there's so much football to be played between now and full time. They can't afford to just sit back and hope that this 1-0 win will be enough. They've got to try and do a little bit more, because we know that PSG have got more than one goal in them.
100%. And you spoke about in the first half, you feel if PSG do get one, then they will push for a second. Arsenal then have to almost on the fly change your mentality. You've been so defensive for so long, to have to then maybe pounce back and go for goal. That'll be an opportunity. Referee gives a foul there for Doué on Saliba. I thought it was a good tackle from the French winger. It's taken short by Rice, out to left hand side for Trossard. Goes back to the Englishman. Now he's going to whip one in. If this isn't a decent ball, Marquinhos, the PSG skipper, will nod it away. Only it's far back to Declan Rice, and then back into Trossard on the left-hand side. Back it goes to Luis Skelly. Of course, that was maybe one of the surprises of this lineup going into the evening. Long ball forward, headed away by Hakimi. So quickly, the lineup. Savinov is in goal for PSG. As I said, no changes at half-time. It's back four of Hakimi, skipper Marquinhos, Pacho and Mendes. Midfield three of Vitinha, Ruiz and Neves. And a forward trio of Dembele, Kvaratskhelia and Doué. Whereas for the Gunners, it's Raya in goal. Back four of now yellow card in Mosquera. First yellow card of the game, as Paul pointed out. Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié, Odegaard, the skipper, Rice and Luis Skelly as a midfield three. And a forward trio of goalscorer Havertz, Saka on the right, Trossard on the left-hand side. Vitinha picks her up and goes back to Savinov. You asked me the question, and I actually don't know where Luis Enrique goes in sense of maybe the bench. We spoke about that as well. We have to have the stronger bench. Do you think maybe he probably says, because it's a great 11, I said as well in the first half, I don't think PSG been bad, I just think Arsenal been better. Do you say to your side, right, you've got 15 minutes, then I might change. Maybe you bring Gonçalo Ramos on, he's more of an out-and-out number 9, and Barcola comes on, as we spoke about. Do you think he does that, or do you think he just on the fly feels how it goes?
I think he has to make a decision as to make, because making those changes doesn't necessarily. We'll just break off from that, because Arsenal have been pushed well back inside their penalty area. A great chance here now as Vitinha breaks into the box. It was a ghosting run from the halfway line before the run just stopped inside the penalty area, and Arsenal eventually clearing their lines. I'll get back to your point in a second, but you think on PSG again?
Once again down the left-hand side. Too many players running at the back four of Arsenal, and do a ball swing from the left-hand side to the right. I guess a thumbs up from Dembele, but well overhit there from the winger. But again, Mendes did in the first half. He went past Mosquera. What this PSG side, they're full of dribblers and progressive players out there. And that's, again, Vitinha, great at doing that, but they haven't shown that enough. They haven't shown that enough, and going back to your previous point, in terms of making a substitution, whether or not Enrique wants to make those changes based on how his team actually start the second half, or whether he wants to make those changes to try and enforce a little bit of a tactical change. I think he has to make that decision just based purely on what he sees. I don't think necessarily it's going to be based on whether his side make a good start or a bad start in this second half. Because from PSG's point of view, if they leave it to an hour and then bring on Barcola, well, that gives him half an hour to try and level the game up and then potentially win it. If they leave it any later than that, then he's just coming on as a super sub. So they've got to try and work out a way in which they can find
just a couple of more click. I think if Enrique can see that his side have made a couple of chances, then he will think about bringing on potentially Ramos and potentially Barcola as well.
Well, one thing that sticks out in my mind was the Super Cup in August. Spurs were 2-0 up against PSG late on. They scored 2 goals in, the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes plus stoppage time. So PSG are never down and out, if you will. Dembele on the right-hand side. Great tackle by Hincapié that he fakes it away from Hakimi and clears the ball. Great defending from the man playing at left-back this evening for Arsenal, former Bayer Leverkusen central defender. Just over 5.5 minutes into this second half. It's PSG 0, Arsenal 1. Independent off-tube studio commentary of all the action. Passes completed. 345 for the Parisians, 84 for the Gunners. Of course, they won't really care because the only stat they're bothered about is the one in the top left-hand corner, and they're very much winning that. And of course, they had that good piece of play. Havertz didn't really capitalise on it, that lovely triangle piece of play. That could have been 2-0. Who knows? And we spoke about the bench. You spoke about Barcola and Ramos, and Arsenal, Martinelli could come on, Madueke could come on with speed and power. You've also got Gyökeres. Pound for pound, Arsenal probably have the better bench.
They do, but then potentially, we were saying this off air before kick-off, Arteta, famously not the most proactive manager when it comes to substitutions, so it may well be that Enrique, with his fewer sort of star options, could actually get more out of those than with the more options that Arteta has.
Will be thrown on the right-hand side for João Neves, from the Benfica man, into Fabi Ruiz, and as well, one thing that as foul throwing, well, we don't see them given that often. The amount of times we call them, we don't see them given. It was João Neves, and Arteta was screaming on the sidelines for it. And fair play to the official, he got that one right. I think he's one of them, isn't he? His ball over the top, Safanov, not for the first time, coming out about halfway into his own half, and a good header clears it away forward. Ruiz battling away with Declan Rice. That's been a good battle between the Englishman and the Spaniard. That could be a battle in the upcoming World Cup. Of course, it was a battle in the Euros final just 2 years ago. Mendes on the left-hand side. Kvaratskhelia, I'm waiting for him to come alive and do something. 1-2, here come PSG, ball forward, Dewey flicks it on. Hakimi's running in behind, but Gabriel reads it well, sweeps up and goes back to Raya, who punts it long. Be a battle in the air between Neves and Trossard, probably two of the smallest players on the field. Trossard gives away a foul, a little bit of a push in the back of the Portuguese midfielder, and free kick for PSG. And look, I think as well what Arsenal did by winning the league, they've almost overcome that hurdle of winning something and not, as maybe something that's been said to them, of not being bottled and stuff. But this is something where PSG have been here, they've won a final. Do you think because Arsenal in finals haven't maybe got over the line, PSG won it last year, they couldn't get over the line, they did last year. Could that come into play? Experience?
It can do. I think that knowing how to behave in these finals is a huge thing. Knowing how to win these games, knowing that it's not quite all over yet. There's always a few more minutes. There's always another chance you can try and create. That's something that PSG have experienced before, whereas Arsenal haven't been in as many finals. But now PSG on the attack with Vitinha playing a ball over towards João Neves. His cross is charged down, and Saka now trying to get a move started for Arsenal, but the free kick's been given against Saka.
Yeah, it looks like, I think, but himself and Dewey both went in. It'll be a yellow card for Bukayo Saka. So it's one of them, isn't it, where I think, unfortunately, they're just both going in for the ball. Saka maybe just as he studs up a little bit more. Watch the replay. But now, that right-hand side for Arsenal and left-hand side for PSG, both have yellow cards.
Well, they do, and I mean, he's
over the top a little bit. A
little bit, yeah. I mean, it's a split-second thing. I mean, you could argue that Saka actually gets to the ball first, but then his boot then rolls over the ball and catches the PSG man. But I don't know. I think a yellow card's a little bit harsh there.
I think I do agree. I think the yellow card is quite harsh. My only assumption is he's already, and I'm not the one, fouls or malicious fouls, but I think that's his third foul. So maybe getting the referee a little bit taken into that's your third foul.
I think there is an element of that as well. And generally speaking, it's not a coincidence. Referees are harsher in the second half. They clearly give the players a little bit of leeway before coming back at them in the second half with slightly more strict rules, effectively.
Someone to say, right, first half, yeah, we'll get away with stuff. Second half, I've had enough myself. I would like to book a few players. So, second player in the book, both for Arsenal, and it's their right back and their right midfielder. Bukayo Saka joins Mosquera in the referee this evening is Daniel Seibert, the German. Over this, it's very centrally. It's Hakimi the right boot, Mendes the left boot. Hakimi will go to strike it, and it's right down the throat of Ryan. Just have to move a little bit, actually, I should say, as well. I think because they both stepped up at the same time, and I had more eyes on Vitinha taking on as Arsenal nearly make a mistake at the back. Gabriel has to clear it away. Battling there, Havertz and Marquinhos. Referee not letting Havertz back into Marquinhos. Went down one in the foul. Referee's not interested at all. Now the space here for Kvaratskhelia on the left-hand side. Can he open up this Arsenal defence? Mosquera on a yellow card. He'll love to run at him. 2 feet of Dewey, almost doubling up the wingers on that left-hand side. Back to Kvaratskhelia. Again, he's not really done anything of note in this game. As the former Napoli man out to the right, all the way from left to right. Neves, Hakimi, Dembele almost then tripling up on this right side. Very vacant in the central areas. Almost, I want to say Nuno Mendes is the furthest player forward. Might even be Fabian Ruiz now. Out to Mendes on the left hand side. Couple of 1-2s and stops it. Just over 10 minutes into the second half. Kvaratskhelia into Mendes. So many red jerseys defending. Mendes passes it. He has to pick his own pass up because it was quite poor. Arsenal clear it out for throw-in. But does it just feel that this is a bit more of an up-tempo PSG right now?
It does, and it also feels like Arsenal don't really have anything other than just sitting back and soaking up pressure, which isn't necessarily a criticism because they don't really have any options. They can't charge at PSG when Enrique's side are getting so further forward, and here comes Kvaratskhelia now with the ball. Again, it's just a bit over here.
It is well defended by Arsenal. Trossard might let it go all the way out for a throw, and is that a pull by Hakimi? Referee says no. More importantly, the linesman said no. It was right next to it. Ruiz trying to pick a ball into the box. So many Arsenal defenders, and Trossard is a one-back. Raya will then punt it long. It might be a one-on-one here if Havertz can bring it down against Pacho. He tries to back himself into it. Does he catch the defender? Yes, he does. Arsenal won't be happy with that, but he does kind of back in a little.
He does, but there's no consistency from the referee because clearly there was a foul in the build-up to the last PSG move where the referee allowed a certain amount of physicality. Pacho there, just a little bit. Paco was a little bit clever there potentially as to showing how he was caught, and that's why they convinced the referee that the free kick should be given. And it was an important free kick for PSG to win because they were getting under some pressure there from Havertz.
It could have been a 3-on-3 and probably favouring the Gunners as they were driving further forward. Just watching that free kick back, it was an easy save by Raya, but it did the old bounces off the turf just before the keeper gets in. That's where it can bobble off. He caught it really well, did Raya, to give credit to the Spaniard. That's one of them where he could spill it. Falls onto an attacking player. PSG coming forward. It's quite relentless from the Parisians at the moment. They're searching for an equaliser. Doué into the feet of the Moroccan Hakimi. Fabian Ruiz. Back to Doué. Everyone is in the Arsenal half. Of course, they're very, very deep. It's one of them where I think Arsenal defensively has been a great performance. They will not care how well or bad they play for the rest of this game. Come away with that championship this evening. Saka defending well, and he wins a free kick just inside his own penalty box. So it's not a penalty, it's a free kick for Arsenal. Ball over the top from Kvaratskhelia. Mendes, Bukayo Saka does it very well. He knows exactly what he's doing. Puts his arm in front of Mendes, gets his body in the way, goes down. He has to be very clever there because if Mendes is the one who gets his body in the way, there is shouts for a penalty.
There is, yeah, but as I say, Saka's had that done to him enough times that he knows how to now do that back to opposition players, just to make sure it's similar to what Paco did earlier in terms of just showing the referee where the contact is and getting his body into the right position. But with just over half an hour to go, I mean, Arsenal, you can count in seconds the amount of time that they've spent in PSG's half in the second 45, but for the time being they won't care because Raya has had to scramble across for a free kick and he's had to look nervously at a couple of crosses, and that's it really.
Looking at the stats, 7 shots, 2 on target. That's all it's been for PSG, 3 for Arsenal, 1 on target. That's the important one. The goal, of course, Marquinhos picks it up from Safanoff. Of course, importantly, he's been able to play on after that head injury. He took a bit of a knock. It was almost the lefty of Marquinhos, the left boot of Trossard, maybe both clipping him, which was maybe a bit of a double whammy for the PSG goalkeeper. He's skipper back on the ball. Dembele almost at right back, dropping deep to move Arsenal around, and I think that was what they've done really well. Putting pressure on Dembele there. Ruiz picks it up, so calm and cool. Vitinha plays it back. Is that sometimes I think you can get caught up as a player, isn't it? That do I go mark the player that's pulling me out of position? That's a great tackle there from Rice, and it's a battle to win the ball. Saka comes away with it, and I think what Arsenal have done is understand that That, first of all, Saka's on a yellow card. It's not a yellow card. He's got to just be careful what he says to the referee. That's not a foul, but it's almost Arsenal. It feels like the opposite. It feels like PSG are winning, and Arsenal are frustrated with fouls and tackles. I don't think it's a foul, but Saka's just got 1-0 up. Okay, I'll accept it.
Well, I think from Saka's point of view, he feels that there wasn't enough contact there, but that replay there shows that potentially there could have actually been a little bit of intent there from Saka.
Yeah, you're right watching the replay. And on that yellow card, so you've had that yellow, you've already had a free tackle, you had a couple of fouls. I'll bring that back in a moment. I say comes Dewey, pokes a ball into the box, doesn't fall for Dembele, cleared away. Mascali just tries to clear it anywhere, but it's not a great one, and picked up by Neves. 1-2 with Vitinha, and the former Benfica man driving forward into Kvaratskhelia down the left-hand side, ball into the box. It's well defended by Mosquera. He's on a yellow card as well, so he's got to be careful, but it is a corner for PSG.
It is a corner, chance now to get players into the box, and it's more pressure here for Arsenal as Fabian Ruiz just trying to get, oh goodness me, there's a really nasty cut there on Kvaratskhelia. He should be off the field, but the cross comes in and is batted away by Raya.
Yeah, I'm not sure when that would have actually happened. I can't imagine it happening just then. Maybe we'll be showing a replay by our broadcasters in a moment, but from that corner it is well cleared away by Raya, ends up with Kvaratskhelia. 1-2 between him and Mendes. Lovely 1-2. Is he brought down there by Mosquera? Yes, he is. And PSG just after the hour mark, as he's saying to the Arsenal players, no, calm down. It is a penalty. They think it will be possibly reviewed as well. But at the moment, 61.5 minutes on the clock. It's PSG 0, Arsenal 1. But PSG, for a great play of 1-2 from Kvaratskhelia and Mendes, have a penalty.
They have a penalty. It's the worst possible result for Arsenal, but I don't think there's going to be any VAR saviour here at all. It looks like, both managers are watching replays now. The PSG players are surrounding the referee as well. Not entirely sure what their issue is, unless they feel as though
Mosquera a second yellow,
Mosquera potentially for a second yellow, but we'll see here. No, there's no way that can't be a foul. Mosquera is trying to grab onto Kvaratskhelia, and then his feet get tangled and he gets nowhere near the ball, so it will be a penalty.
I think he goes through the back, so he wins, he actually gets a touch on the ball, but he goes through Kvaratskhelia first, so it causes the foul, causes the connection and the foul, and then he just picked the ball up, and look, maybe 30 years ago that might be thought it was a good tackle. In the modern day, penalty all day long.
Absolutely, yes, and they are actually doing a VAR check for the penalty. I'm not entirely sure why, because to me it seems fairly obvious that it is a foul. And Luis Enrique just asking the fourth official as to what the issue is here. Let's see what Daniel Siebert's going to do. But if, as I say, if there's no penalty, then hopefully we're going to get some sort of explanation as to why. A penalty has been given now, and that is confirmed.
Yes, so it looks like check over. Well, Dembele looked very upset there.
I think they were trying to suggest that it should have been a second yellow for Mosquera, unless,
that's been overturned and we haven't been given full confirmation.
That would certainly. No, it's a strange one. I must admit the VAR has checked it. There doesn't seem to be the penalty is going to be given. Just took a little while for that to be confirmed. But now who's going to be the penalty taker?
That's what I was just about to ask you. Usually, I would assume Dembele to take it. Kvaratskhelia off the field because, as you said, he's having to be patched up. He won it, so would he have taken it? Maybe.
Maybe there's a little bit of justice there because I would argue that Kvaratskhelia shouldn't have been on the field to even win that penalty because his leg was literally dripping in blood, so he should have been off the field getting that seen to before the foul was even given.
What a big moment this is, and you rightfully pointed out. PSG got an equaliser. We give or take half an hour to go. It's going to be a very long 30 minutes this evening in Budapest. So it is PSG 0, Arsenal 1. 64 minutes on the clock. It looks like it will be Dembele. Vitinha held the ball. Usually that means you're not going to take it because you hold the ball, and Dembele looks to be the man who will be taking it. Dembele against Raya. Dembele steps up. It will be the right foot, and he puts it in the back of the net. Raya sent the wrong way, and PSG have their equaliser from the spot. You can imagine it'll be PSG now. They will feel like they've got momentum, that they can go on in this game. There's tears in the PSG section of the crowd. Enrique, as per usual, cool as a cucumber. 64.5 minutes on the clock. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1.
1-1 it is, and now what are PSG going to do from here? What are Arsenal going to do from here? Because Arsenal have been in complete defensive mode for the past 20 minutes. Can they now alter that? Or are they just going to accept that role until the end of the game and hope they can somehow see it out or maybe get some sort of chance? But confident penalty from Dembele. Maybe just as well that Raya didn't save it, because I think he might have been off his line actually just as he was diving forward. But it's a very good penalty. And now it really is game on.
There's going to maybe be a substitution as well. You can see those as well. Let's be quite fair. If maybe Raya would have saved that, maybe PSG feel it's just not our day, and Arsenal would have felt it. But it is, where do we go from here? I said about substitutes. I'm sure that there might be some to come. It is, where is it going to be? Arsenal, of course. Now maybe you do look at a Mosquera. Mosquera's going to be the one coming off on the yellow card. Timber's going to be coming on, because as well, if Barcola came on, I would probably say from an attacking point of view, you'd probably drop Doué into the middle, put Barcola on the left. He'd have been running at a fullback on a yellow card. Mosquera's had a great game. On a yellow card, unfortunately, give away that penalty there. Timber wasn't fit to start, fit probably to give a good half an hour here. And Kvaratskhelia up against him, that'll be a really good battle. Also, Odegaard coming off for Gyökeres. So double change, Mosquera and Odegaard off. Coming on is Timber and Gyökeres. And almost probably 4-4-2, but Havertz is better dropping a bit deeper sometimes.
Havertz will drop a little bit deeper, yes, absolutely. It's it's an unusual one from Arsenal to make that change. Just as I think Arteta probably wouldn't have made this change had it not been for the goal being conceded, but he wants to get some sort of bed down, some sort of change in terms of his formation now to give his side enough time to actually do something with it, because I think if they wait until the end of the game or until the last few minutes, it could be too late by then.
100%. As you spoke about with maybe early on with Barcola, you want to give your players time. Don't, if you come on with in the 88th minute, you'd almost be like, I'd be looking at the boss going, what can I do in 8 minutes here? Unless something falls for me. Arsenal looking to respond quickly. Long throwing on the right-hand side. Havertz tries to bring it down. What you would say, Gyökeres as well. Well, my word, taken off for Odegaard, 5'7", 5'8". Bringing Gyökeres on, that helps you from set pieces as well. It has to be said. Vitinha winning a free kick and smiles at Lewis Skelly. He gets in front of the ball to block it away. Don't think the referee's going to pull a yellow card out for that. I actually don't think he. I think he was stood there, and the PSG man was trying to play it off him more than anything. But now momentum, you have to say, is with the Parisians.
Oh no, it absolutely is. The Parisians now are going to feel as though it's their final. I mean, they've been the dominant side pretty much throughout anyway, but now having got their equaliser and still plenty of time to go, they'll feel as though they can really do something. But a long ball now played, there's going to be an offside here against Havertz anyway.
I think the referee knows he's going to bring it back. It would have fallen kindly for Kvaratskhelia to drive forward, actually, but he does bring it back. I mean, Kvaratskhelia up against Timber, that'll be another really interesting battle down that left-hand side. Saka is the only player on a yellow card. It was Saka and Mosquera who were on yellow cards. PSG yet to receive a booking by the referee, but now Saka can't really maybe... No, he can get back and help his fullback out, of course, but I mean, maybe Timber, he's less of a... He does like to sit back, maybe saying, look, I will try and cover. You stay forward a bit more. It is more that he's pressing a bit more on that right-hand side. 68 minutes on the clock. PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Interesting to see where we go from here. PSG have almost got a second life as well, a second win. Lovely ball out to Hakimi on the right-hand side. Can he find a ball into the box? He tries to. It's a ball into the box. It's deflected away and out for a PSG corner. Yeah, out for a PSG corner. This is what Arsenal have got to be very careful of. It was already one-way traffic before this PSG equaliser, but now that they've scored, they really are going to be able to put the pressure on Arsenal, and Dembele waiting to whip this one in. It'll be an interesting one. They've gone short a few times, haven't they? So that'll be interesting to see where they go from it. They do go short once again, this time into the penalty box for Doué. Quick feet from the Frenchman. He's got Dembele behind him. He's still trying to dance past Declan Rice. He's got 3 Arsenal players in front of him. Goes back to Hakimi. Now into Dembele. Takes a touch, swings one into the back sticks. Pacho tries to keep it alive, but unfortunately it rolls out of play for a goal, a kick. So 69 minutes on the clock, just over 20 to go. Dembele, I mean, I think that shows the standards he now has of himself. He looks frustrated from that cross coming in. Watching back his penalty, I think it's a really good penalty, good strike into the bottom corner. Raya, if he goes the right way, might have saved it, but I do think it's a quality penalty, and that sets us up nicely for the last 20 minutes. The second half of the second half. If you're joining, warm welcome. It's independent off-tube studio commentary. Champions League final from Budapest, Hungary. It is a PSG 1, Arsenal 1. And to take us through to full time, I'll pass you over to Paul as we're just about to go into a drinks break.
Yeah, drinks break, absolutely. Thanks, Lewis. Yeah, it is halfway through, just over halfway through the second half. So both sets of players just coming across for a drinks break. It's a nice warm-up for what we're going to have at the World Cup, of course. Which is probably going to be sponsored by somebody as well, that drinks break. And we're going to have all sorts of half-time shenanigans as well, something that we're not used to necessarily. But for the time being, as we can see, we've got some celebrities there just discussing the game in the background. David Beckham there is giving his view on things as well. I'm sure that he'd always be, although I was saying that, he was a Man United fan and a sort of a Spurs fan growing up, wasn't he? So I think he may not have too much of an affinity for Arsenal there. But
Because played at PSG, was it his last?
He did, yeah, of course. He did have a little spell at PSG. You're absolutely right. So perhaps more of an affinity there for Mr. Beckham. But we can see the Arsenal fans now. They're in good voice. They've been waiting a long time for this final. And the PSG fans, of course, they've come to expect it. They don't get to the Champions League final every season. There's an inquest, of course, because they're expected to win their own domestic league quite easily, really. But we've had a drinks break now, so we're going to be able to restart play very soon. 19 minutes on the clock, more like 24, 25 still to play. So we'll wait and see. But as it stands now, it's hard to see how Arsenal can go and score a second goal. But then it was hard to see how they were going to get their first one. So there's always a goal in Arsenal.
100%. And it came from a mistake at the back, didn't it? Marquinhos cleared it. I want to say it was off the back of Trossard or Odegaard. And Havertz, it fell kindly for him. He drove forward and hit a superb strike. We spoke about Gyökeres not starting, and here come Arsenal.
They do now with Trossard at the edge of the area, trying to get a pass through towards Havertz, but it's been cleared, and it's off down the left-hand side now. If Doué can keep it in play, he certainly can't. I mean, he and the ball clearly went over the line. Arsenal are after a yellow card here for Desiree Doué for kicking the ball away. All of a sudden, it's important for Arsenal not to waste any time. But of course, they're in a difficult situation because if you said to Arsenal now, with the sort of the mood that PSG are in, you can have extra time now. I think part of Arsenal, I think, may even take that. But just as I say that, Raya has completely miscued a clearance, and he goes straight through to Hakimi in midfield. He then finds Dembele breaking into the penalty area. Dembele, oh, he was all over the place with that one. Dembele dropped his shoulder, then wanted to pull the trigger with his weaker right foot. In the end, he completely has a hack at it and makes a mess of it. But Raya, very lucky there.
Oh, he was. And straight away again, he puts his arm in the air, doesn't he? He says, sorry. I think what he's trying to do is quickly take that touch and at the same time hit it. And it's a heavy touch, and then he slices it. I mean, he doesn't even, well, actually, he completely whiffs it, doesn't he? And it's unfortunate because, again, they could have really made Raya pay there.
They could have, yeah. Raya's distribution, they're letting him down, but Arsenal's midfield possession letting them down there with Yuri Timber just giving the ball away, and all of a sudden it's a chance now for PSG down the left-hand side. There was a foul in midfield that referee says play on because PSG still have it here down the left-hand side with Kvaratskhelia. Cuts back onto his right foot, then rolls it back towards João Neves. Square to Vitinha. Vitinha pulling the trigger just over the bar. Raya did have his arm up there momentarily, but he could see that it was just going to be over.
If that's probably 5 yards further back, it tests Raya, doesn't it? He loves a strike at goal, does Vitinha, and it dips as soon as you can see it's going over, so it kind of went that, nearly test. As you said, Raya just that hand in the air to be safe more than anything. But PSG, since that goal, it's just brought that. You can see the pressings there. They feel like Arsenal are here to be got at. And Arsenal, very similar to when they scored, they weathered about a 10-minute PSG storm. They just need to maybe see 80 minutes on the clock and one apiece.
No, absolutely. I think that's what they'll be looking for. As Havertz now chasing a long ball, gets through towards the edge of the area, trying to find Saka, but the ball just goes through towards Safonov in the end. That same Safonov has pretty much been jobless for this entire second half so far. He suddenly had to rush off his line there. But that's the threat that Arsenal pose. If they can get that ball to their front line, then there is a goal in there. It's just a case of whether they can keep the ball for long enough, because here come PSG now with Doué down the right-hand side, plays it in towards Hakimi, heading towards the penalty area now. Options left and right, but he goes back towards Doué, just stopping at the edge of the area before playing it back towards Vitinha. PSG, as they like to do, getting all their outfield players involved in this possession. Fabian Ruiz now moving forward down the left-hand side, square towards Kvaratskhelia. 3 or 4 waiting inside the penalty area. It's back with Fabian Ruiz. Now Vitinha. Vitinha rolling this one back towards Paco Square. Now to Marquinhos. Now towards Hakimi, being closed down there by Nkapi. Back towards the halfway line. Visitors, I say visitors, Arsenal were sat back deep inside their own half here. I suppose they are nominal, the visitors, aren't they? PSG have been named as the home team, although it makes no difference with these two sides both being able to wear their home colours. Hakimi now down the right-hand side. That's a good bit of work there from Hincapié to take the ball off him. And then it's Gyökeres playing it back towards Trossard. Does really well, drops the shoulder and loses two PSG markers in the process. But then he's running into more trouble in midfield here. Is the Belgian. He needs a bit of support here now from Miles Lewis-Skelly. Into the middle now, back to Leandro Trossard. Turns straight into trouble in the form of Desiree Doué, which will give Arsenal a free kick, but they need a bit of midfield possession now.
Yeah, I think if anything, when Trossard skipped away, he was trying to look for the ball, wasn't he? And if anything, I think you just said there, just have a bit of possession for a minute to knock it around, and if anything, slow it down, because PSG, they have, whether it's in position, out of position, it's very chaotic, isn't it? Quick, 1-2, high tempo. If you can almost take that away from them and slow them down, that's what they need to do, and just have the ball for 2 or 3 minutes, not really go for goal. But they've got a free kick just inside the half, and Raya's going to go for a set piece here.
He is. PSG have set up with an offside a long way from their box. Raya in the end just plays a short square ball and then runs straight back to his penalty area. Meanwhile, Arsenal have slowly progressed down the left-hand side. Saka then in towards Havertz. No options for Havertz to send the ball towards the penalty, so he has to go all the way back towards Raya now, who's still inside his own half, of course. A long clearance there from Raya towards the edge of the area, bounces over Gyökeres, and then it's a hacked clearance there from Paco, which will be left to go out here by Trossard. He takes the throw, gets it in towards Gyökeres at the edge of the area. He does well to hold it up, back towards Leandro Trossard. Gyökeres, then back towards Trossard, looking for options. Just stands the ball up into the penalty area. Nodded clear by Paco, back to Trossard. 25 yards out, over towards Hincapié on the left-hand side. Cross is overhit by Someway. It will be kept in here by Timber. Lays it in towards Saka. Saka at the edge of the area. Thought about going for goal, but in the end, just has a cross charge down. Then it's nodded back towards Bukayo Saka, breaking into the penalty area. Good work there from William Paco to clear it there. And Rice does really well to win the ball back for Arsenal in midfield. And there is Saka again. Just too many touches at the edge of the area. Miles Lewis-Skelly slides in. But the ball has been cleared. And now suddenly Arsenal have too many men committed forward. And here come PSG with Kvaratskhelia really herring down the left-hand side now, breaking into the box. It's still Kvaratskhelia, the strike. I think he may have deflected off the post, but it's away for a corner.
What a piece of play. First of all, Kvaratskhelia to get away from Saliba. I thought it was great defending from Saliba to even get close to Kvaratskhelia. And I think it deflects off of an Arsenal defender. Looks like it might be Lewis-Skelly, then off of the outside of the post. It's been given as a corner, but that's what I was about to say. Is PSG, when Arsenal, PSG are faster on a counter-attack, and yes, they were defending well, but I mean, watching it back, it's great defending at first. Lewis-Skelly, he gets in the way. Raya might have saved it, but he stops his goalkeeper, everyone to get involved.
Yeah, as I say, Raya in the end, the post making sure that ball goes away from goal. PSG have taken the corner kick short. And then it's whipped in, a low cross there from Doué. The header comes off, I'm pretty sure it did come off an Arsenal head. Yes, it certainly did. It was Jurriën Timber. He had a look towards the referee like he thought he might have been fouled, but it's just going to be a corner.
Especially after that piece of play from Kvaratskhelia, and just the camera panning him there. He's looking at the bench, and it might be that injury. Again, Barcola for him would be a straight swap, so he might only have a few minutes left.
Only a few minutes to go. The corner kick is going to be whipped in here. Oh, it's whipped in way too much, in fact. It sails over everyone and just goes out for a goal kick. It's not been the best night for Dembele so far.
No, he's obviously got his goal from the penalty spot, though, hasn't he? Apart from that, it's not gone for him. But again, and I mean, it's a penalty, but it's a big moment, isn't it? So that's almost why he's been there. You could imagine this is, no offence to Kvaratskhelia, he could have stepped up, missed. Ruiz could have missed, couldn't he? So he's not had his game, but he'll get his goal. And again, who knows? He could have a chance on a goal later on in the game.
Yeah, but it's now Arsenal who are trying to get forward as Rice gets the ball here from Havertz, and then he finds Bukayo Saka working into the penalty area. Saka, it just takes too long on the ball. He had options to get that ball away. It's been cleared up towards the halfway line where Arsenal come straight back, but then Lewis-Skelly gets caught in possession, and now he's got to come back. He may have to sacrifice a foul here just to help his teammates out. He's running all the way back towards the edge of the area, and then in the end I think he's won his side the free kick. That's really good work there from Miles Lewis-Skelly. He might not be a defensive midfielder by trade, but he certainly proved it. So he certainly stepped up there.
Oh, it was. I thought for all the days, as you said, he's going to just bring Doué down, set the card. Instead, he battles with him, pace for pace, strength for strength, gets in front of him, wins the free kick. So yes, he put his side in trouble, but my word, did he get himself out of it there, because that was a walking yellow card for the young midfielder.
Certainly was. And Noni Madueke, you're going to get 11 minutes plus injury time, as is Gabriel Martinelli. So they're going to be substitutions here for Arsenal in just a moment. Meanwhile, it's a long ball played towards the edge of the area. And Trossard just loses his balance as he was breaking into the box. Arsenal are getting little glimmers inside that PSG penalty area, just perhaps taking too long on the ball. It's now played back towards Fabian Ruiz. Just being closed down. Plays that ball over towards the right-hand side now for Hakimi. In towards Dembele. Back towards Fabian Ruiz. Dembele now to Vitinha. Over towards João Neves. Options here left and right, but they're just quite happy to hold on to the ball here now momentarily. PSG, Arsenal still playing a relatively high line here, so they're not going to make it easy for PSG to try anything diagonal. A double substitution from Mikel Arteta is still waiting. Vitinha then to Nuno Mendes. Back to Vitinha again. Looking left, looking right. No options to try and get that ball further forward. Now it's gone down the right-hand side here for Hakimi. Back in towards Fabian Ruiz again. Arsenal really are holding the line very well, but PSG aren't really probing that much easier. They're just quite happy to keep possession.
And I think what we were speaking about with Arsenal trying to take the sting out of PSG, I think that's what PSG are doing to Arsenal. Now they see that Arsenal getting a few spaces, they're getting a few chances. Let's just knock it around for a bit. Let's take the sting out of them. They come with Kvaratskhelia.
Well, yeah, they do. Kvaratskhelia now at the edge of the area trying to dance away. He's got away from two Arsenal players. Then he tries to backheel it to Doué, who was waiting, but that ball is just a little bit under hit, and now all of a sudden Lewis Skelly can break out for Arsenal, gets the ball into Timber. Timber runs into trouble. He's left a gap at the back as well, and here come PSG now with Doué into the penalty area. The cross is charged down by Saliba out for a corner.
I mean, everyone, you've already spoken about, I know we've had 2 drinks breaks. It's a very cool, warm kind of evening, isn't it? Yes, it'll feel cool at times, and then it'll feel boiling at others, won't it? So you can just see the players, it's playing a big part in the game. As you rightfully said, Martinelli and Madueke are coming on. It looks like, I think the corner's going to be taken first. The official had the board out, so no corner will be taken first.
No, there's a player down inside the 6-yard box here. Miles Lewis Skelly is suggesting he might have been caught in the face here. What's Marquinhos done to him here? No, that's ridiculous. I mean, he wasn't even pushed, and he's grabbing himself by the face there. So, a little bit embarrassing there from the young man. But it's going to be finally this corner kick here for PSG. And it's headed on at the near post by Paco, but it's over the bar. In the end, he was working with just a little bit too tight an angle there.
Yeah, that was a much better delivery than the last one. I know it had to be, but it was a much better delivery. So, and again, I spoke about the height about Arsenal. Well, that just shows that if you put a good delivery in, it doesn't really matter, does it? And it will be a double change. Martinelli and Madueke coming on, and it's like for like. Saka and Trossard off. Saka, he's had a very good game, of course, hasn't he? But I will say that pace down the right-hand side and the left are both the tired legs of PSG, the high line they play, the pushing forward. It's a nightmare probably facing the likes of Madueke and Martinelli. Perfect players to come on for the last 10-15 minutes or so.
It certainly is. It gives them a chance just to have a bit more of an impact. The change for PSG as well with Kvaratskhelia coming off, Bradley Barcola coming on. Well, we mentioned that he probably won't be able to do anything in 10 minutes or so, but that will be Luis Enrique thinking that there's probably more than 10 minutes to go in this game.
100%. And to a degree, if you don't have at least half an eye on extra time now, both these sides will, as you said, because you've just got to, haven't you? Long ball forward, here come Arsenal.
Yeah, Havertz breaking into the penalty area, just a bit of an awkward bounce as he was trying to get after the ball. Gyökeres then tracking that one all the way towards the left-hand edge of the penalty area. He plays it back towards Hincapié. Now it's on the halfway line with Gabriel. The ball forward, Havertz heads it back towards Hincapié at the edge of the area now. Ball stabbed in towards Gyökeres. He's tracking that all the way, but it's a good clearance from Marquinhos. Gets a decent clearance on that. It's out for Arsenal here on the left-hand side. Throw on to be taken here by Hincapié. PSG just making sure they have enough bodies back. Hincapié doesn't want to take too long. But as I say, I mean, they're already taking longer than they did when Mosquera got his yellow card earlier in the game. It just goes to show it's not necessarily a consistent thing. I think it was more of a point the referee wanted to make with that yellow card for Mosquera. But now we can see the throw on. Declan Rice We know has got a long throw on. He's going to try and launch it long here. The Arsenal captain gets a decent amount of height on that one. Headed on at the near post. Oh, it's dropping inside the 6-yard box before it's hit, nodded clear, and then finally played away. But it's then played back towards the edge of the PSG penalty area. Madueke's pass isn't controlled by Timber, and then it's a clearance down the left-hand side, and suddenly there's a race on. And if Doué gets there before Raya does superbly well there. David Raya waited until he was inside the box, and it was Barcola charging in on that left-hand side. But Arsenal then give the ball away in midfield, and there's a half a chance here for PSG again. Here is Barcola into the penalty area. Ball is cleared. Bit of a heavy touch there from Rice, but it does get through to Martinelli. A very heavy touch from him. He gives it away to Marquinhos. It's a really nervy moment now for Arsenal as Vitinha pulls the trigger from 25, if not 30 yards out. The ball is charged down and it's back in PSG possession.
I mean, the more chaotic it becomes, the more PSG will love it. I thought that touch from Barcola was a little bit heavy, but also not many keepers would fly out like Raya did. So, and again, if he's half a second late, Barcola either has the opportunity to shoot or can take it past him and maybe he's brought down or takes it past him as an open goal. That pace of Barcola now on the left hand side, similar to Martinelli and Madueke, it's going to be an interesting, just under 5 minutes and then whatever stoppage time we have.
No, I think so. I think with the fight, as you mentioned, the thing for Barcola that he's fresh off the bench, and also he's up against an Arsenal defender, Timber, who's not had the best match fitness in the last couple of months. So, and Arsenal are sending their players further forwards. I mean, that was a real great opportunity that for Barcola. But Fabian Ruiz now playing this ball down the left-hand side for Barcola, back in towards Fabian Ruiz, 40 yards out from goal square to Vitinha. Now it's Marquinhos. Towards Hakimi, right-hand edge of the penalty area. 5 players to work for inside the box. Hakimi gets to the byline. Cross comes in. He looks like he's caught in Cappy as he's put the ball in, but it will be a corner kick to PSG.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunately it's just as they've collided almost, isn't it? It's just lovely from Barcola, and it is so that you speak about milliseconds and inches in the game. Raya, if he's a second later, a half a second off of his line, it's a different story.
Outswinging corner here from Dembele. It eludes everyone. It drops at the edge of the area. Vitinha's effort. It's a bouncing strike which just nodded clear. And now there's a miscue. And all of a sudden there's a chance here for Arsenal if they can use it. It's now with Gyökeres down the right-hand side. Oh, that's an awful ball though towards Madueke. And it was actually Martinelli that got the ball on that right-hand side. He was the one that tried to find Madueke, and he missed him by about 10 yards.
That's really poor from the Brazilian, because for me, what Mendes does really well is Mendes almost steps off and goes, I'll mark the runner. Martinelli, that's what you've got to run at you, man, because that's the space, isn't it? You've got Madueke in front of you. You've got Gyökeres, I thought, was peeling off at the back. For me, Martinelli, keep running, let the defender make the decision for you. First of all, it's a terrible pass, but because Mendes marked the run, if it would have fallen for Madueke, it would have been quite awkward for him.
No, it would have. It really would have been awkward, and that's an opportunity that Arsenal would have loved to have taken, because time is ticking away, and here come PSG again now with Doué down the right-hand side into Hakimi. 3 in the box. If he can get a cross in, it's nodded on by João Neves. It's cleared towards the left-hand side. Ball put in towards the ball coming in towards the back post. Hakimi went for it, but in the end, his header goes askew, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, just watching. I mean, I was just saw Neves in the air, and at first I thought, oh, is he going to win a header? But of course, he scored against Bayern Munich with a header, with a bullet header as well. Just watching this as well, whereas just a big melee in the box, wasn't it? Mendes. It's a good header in the end. Luckily, he heads it to a PSG player. Because if he's not there, it's maybe a tapping for an Arsenal man. But again, when it's so chaotic, again, we're fine margins at this point of the game. Like we're 1 apiece, we're closing on 90 minutes. It's been such an intense, high-quality game. It could be a drop of concentration, a mistake. Anything so small will be massive now.
No, it would. It really would. And so that's why you almost feel as though the game may just peter out now, because both sides will be more concerned about keeping what they have rather than actually trying to go for even more. But you never know. There are some stars on the field, so they may still have that one opportunity to shine before we tick into the extra time period. We're about 90 seconds away from seeing the 4th official's board. I expect 5 or 6 minutes to be added, just like in the first half. Ball now sent back towards David Raya. Long clearance here from Raya over the halfway line. Gyökeres is the intended target. Does well to take it down, but there's nobody in an Arsenal shirt close enough to him to be able to use that. And the ball played away towards Doué. That's a really good ball to Doué as well, working his way into the box. Doué still able to play it back. Oh, the strike comes in. It's just over the bar. It was coming in towards Vitinha. And as he was trying to lift that, he just gets it over the bar and it's away for a goal kick.
Great play for him. I mean, what a ball, as you said, from Mendes. He just pings it into the feet of Doué. And Doué's so two-footed that you don't know where he's going to go. He's a young Frenchman. And I think he's trying to go for a strike and he just gets it off to Vitinha. So he's stretching to get the pass. It's a great strike from Vitinha. Unfortunately, I think he's just a little bit over it, isn't he? So it's always rising a little bit. But I'd have to say, if that's on target, I think that's in the back of the net.
It is. I don't think Raya gets to that one. He's just lifted that a little bit too high, Vitinha. Raya now claiming he has some sort of cramp. I think this is all just a diversionary tactic to slow things down. And I actually don't think, unless this is a genuine injury, of course, then I take it all back. But if this isn't, then this is a false economy from Arsenal, because it just means that the referee is going to now excessively probably add an extra minute just for this.
I think as well, what I'd always look at, just because it happens so often, as you say, it's become a bit of a trend, hasn't it, is how quickly the players go to the bench. If the goalkeeper's down and the players are mingling between each other, you might go, okay, you saw the Arsenal players rush to the bench, didn't you? So almost, yeah, come on, quickly, as quick as we can. Another 6 minutes similar to the first half, as you said. What will 6 minutes it'll be? So hopefully some drama.
Yes, hope there is some drama. Let's hope it's not just a case of two teams waiting for extra time, which often you do see in these sorts of situations. For the time being, we haven't had any play yet because Raya is still having his injury checked over. So for the time being, he still hasn't moved. He's still inside that 6-yard box. Let's wait to see if he's actually going to be able to play on or not. Certainly hope from Arsenal's perspective that he is. It would be a big substitution to have to use up here if Raya was to have to go off, but it's taking a long time. Still nothing being shown to us for the time being. And so now we can just see Nuno Mendes and a couple of the other PSG players. Just checking everything with the referee, but we're going to have an extra minute added on top of the 6 that should have been added, because he's not had a single second's play yet so far in added time. But now we can get underway here with Gabriel. But I think everything's suggesting we are going to have extra time now.
Yeah, it's one of them as well that, as both coaches, players, what do you accept? Isn't it as well that how big of a risk are you willing to maybe win it in the 90 but lose it, or have another 30 minutes to take your risks and lose it?
Yeah, absolutely. If it's a case of risking it and not winning, or making sure that you can get an extra half an hour, then I think both managers would prefer to get the extra half an hour. Of that, there is no doubt. Declan Rice sliding in to win Arsenal a throw-on here on the left-hand side. Will be taken on the left here by Nuno Mendes. And absolutely no rush here. Dembele now complaining about cramp. Bearing in mind that PSG have only made one sub, and they will be allowed to make an additional sub during the extra time period, but Dembele is not going to be able to play on. He's got an issue now, so we're going to get a bit of a delay, I would guess, when he starts deliberately sitting down any second. For the time being, it is Arsenal in possession, though, with Rice playing a ball over the top here for Gyökeres. He tries to turn it round for the run of Madueke. There's a good challenge there. It looks like there might have been a foul as well on João Neves, just as he was trying to turn away from Victor Gyökeres. So now a free kick to PSG. Taken short here between João Neves and Vitinha. Over towards Marquinhos now, still inside the PSG half. Doué has dropped a bit deeper now on the right-hand side. Arsenal playing a relatively high offside line. They don't want to make it too easy for PSG to work their way towards the penalty area. But meanwhile, Ramos is going to come on, and he has to, because Dembele can't walk at this stage.
And I think for PSG and France's sake, they'll hope it's cramp other than an injury.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we'll be able to find all of that in the fullness of time. But with PSG now on the attack down the right-hand side, they had a chance to get the ball into the box, preferring to just cut back into midfield, though. Marquinhos now to Vitinha. Back to Marquinhos again. Square to Fabian Ruiz. 3-4 options ahead of him here. One of them is Doué. He's got an overlap in Hakimi, but Doué wants to do it all himself, and then fires the ball into the 6-yard box, which is cleared by Gabriel. Second ball in from Doué with a bit more of a bounce to it. It's an awkward one for Barcola. He does well to control it in the air, but he was forced a long way back in the process. And now PSG can start again, but it's on the halfway line now with Marquinhos into Fabian Ruiz. Strong challenge on him there, but the Paris side still keep the ball here now with Hakimi down the right-hand side. In towards Fabian Ruiz. Ruiz playing it back towards João Neves. Now Marquinhos over towards Vitinha. the left-hand side now for Barcola. Arsenal, I've got to say, barely had a touch of the ball in added time. It is all PSG really, and now it's Hakimi down the right-hand side at the edge of the area, just turning away from trouble. There is João Neves back into midfield now for Vitinha. Over to Nuno Mendes, but is there a cross? Is there any end product for PSG after all this possession? Because they're struggling to get the ball anywhere near the penalty area right now. They're actually being forced further away. Marquinhos now with a bit of a bounce on the ball. I thought he might try and go for goal. He just decides to hold it up and then go towards Hakimi. He plays it back towards Fabian Ruiz. It's Hakimi again. Options for the cross. Marquinhos then towards Vitinha. Vitinha down the right-hand side now for Fabian Ruiz, looking for options. And he does put in a deep cross. It's nodded clear. And that's going to be half a chance here now for Arsenal to go on the counter as Madueke plays that ball into Havertz. Havertz is brought down. That's going to be a yellow card here for João Neves. He can't do anything to argue that particular decision. A free kick to Arsenal.
And you just got to take that, haven't you? You just got to accept the yellow card, take one for the team. It's exactly what Neves has done. It's a smart thing to do. And I think PSG were, just as you said, just trying to just tick the clock away. I think to almost you see it as Dembele is finally coming off Gonzalo Ramos. I think maybe they were waiting for Arsenal to foul them, so they maybe could make that change. I don't know, but it's almost like in the NBA, you've got 15 seconds if you want to take the last shot. You don't want to let your opponent have anything else.
No,
it was almost they wanted to have that one last chance, so Arsenal couldn't even come forward.
Yes, I think there's certainly some logic in that, although it's ended up backfiring now, of course, with Arsenal winning themselves a free kick on the halfway line. And I would say we've pretty much had the full 6 minutes of added time now, but I expect there to be a little bit more. We lost the first minute to Raya's injury. Dembele was probably taking about 30 seconds going off as well, so we may get an extra minute on top of that. But it is Raya's long ball towards the edge of the area, headed on now by Gabriel, headed away towards Declan Rice, back towards Gabriel again. On the left-hand side, he then finds Martinelli. Martinelli's cross towards the back post is headed down, and then it's Fabian Ruiz with the second ball, clearing that into midfield. We're over the 6 minutes now, but we play on for the time being. Madueke keeping this ball in play. Back towards Timber, does well to turn away from trouble, does Timber. And it's crossed in from the right-hand side now. That's a good header away, though, by Hakimi. Second ball finding Doué, and now all of a sudden it's PSG that are on the counter, and is with Barcola. And he's really going through the gears now. Barcola, the angle's tight. He wants to do what Havertz did in the first half, but he does lack the precision, unfortunately, from PSG's point of view, because he's hit it into the side netting.
As you rightfully said, that was almost a carbon copy of Kai Havertz. So we played 6 minutes, we've played nearly 7, as you said, probably an extra minute for the pause in play for Raya. What a bump that would have been if Barcola would have put that in. I think he always wants to put it on his right foot, and he's always going wide again. You've just got to try and hit that low and hard.
Yeah, I think there was the touch before. I think we're not going to have any more time. We are not. The referee has called time at the end of the 90, so it's still 1-1 here between PSG and Arsenal, and we're back in a few minutes for extra time.
We're heading to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. 90 minutes couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up, and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Raya the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're heading to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. 90 minutes couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up, and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Raya the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're heading to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. 90 minutes couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Rayo the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're headed to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1, 90 minutes. Couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Rayo the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're headed to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1, 90 minutes. Couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Rayo the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're headed to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1, 90 minutes. Couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Rayo the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're headed to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1, 90 minutes. Couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Rayo the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're headed to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1, 90 minutes. Couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Rayo the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're headed to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1, 90 minutes. Couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Rayo the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're headed to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1, 90 minutes. Couldn't separate the two sides. Arsenal held the lead for so long. Kai Havertz's 6-minute strike gave Arsenal the lead all the way until just after the hour mark. Kvaratskhelia brought down by Mosquera. Dembele stepped up and the Ballon d'Or holder put it in the bottom corner, sending Rayo the wrong way. It's one apiece as we await extra time. We're headed to extra time in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1. And it is a warm welcome back to this evening's independent off-tube studio commentary for the action from the Champions League final from Budapest, Hungary, the Puskás Stadium, as PSG play Arsenal. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Full 90 minutes, couldn't separate the two sides. We're bound for an extra 30 at the minimum. Havertz's 6-minute strike, the difference maker, give Arsenal a 1-0 lead, and then Bele's penalty just after the hour mark. It made it one apiece. Last half an hour, so much put into it, and now we're into another half. 2 15-minute periods. Arsenal have made a double change. Of course, 5 changes in the 90. Get an extra change in stoppage time. They've made all 6 together. Off comes Havertz and Luis Skelly. Eze and Zupamendi are on in place of them. Of course, in the last few moments, Dembele came off of Ramos in the 90, but no changes for PSG. I'll quickly go through the lineups in just a moment. A few seconds into this extra time period. PSG 1, Arsenal 1. It's the first Champions League final to go to extra time since the All Madrid final in 2016. Real Madrid, of course, started that three-peat. It's the 17th Champions League final, well, European Cup final to go to extra time in its history. Will we get a winner in the 30 minutes? Or will we be bound for a dramatic penalty shootout? We'll have to wait and see. Here come Arsenal. Madueke down the right-hand side. Can he pick out a pass? Ball fizzed into the box. Cleared away by Pacho. Corner for the Gunners. It's myself, Lewis Raftery. I'm joined by Paul Shabakovic, taking you through all the action this evening. And that has been a great start for Arsenal.
It's been a great start for Arsenal. I think that that ball into Gyökeres is exactly what they need to be doing. I think that the fact they've made all their changes now at the start of the extra time period, that has its risks as well. You know, a lot of players are going to be playing full matches here, and the fact they cannot make any changes on a concussion substitution now is a bit of a risk, I think.
PSG, it's one of them, isn't it? Arsenal have the fresh legs, but PSG have the opportunity to bring them on. Of course, penalties, you might take someone who's maybe not confident at penalties, and bring a more forward-thinking player on. Who knows? But Arsenal, well, what they've got now is what they've got. In this first half of extra time, PSG going right to left, Arsenal left to right. Madueke with the in-swinger headed away at the front post. Looks like it came last off of Ramos. And, well, of course, what he will bring as well, coming on for Dembele, he's more of the out-and-out outlet as a number 9.
He is, and that's... that gives them that little bit more of a sort of attacking spearhead when they do go forward, and potentially something they can use for defending set pieces as well.
There will be another set piece then for Arsenal. It will be another in-swinger from Madueke. As Paul rightfully pointed out, Arsenal, if they were to score, would be scoring in front of the Parisians. Instead, I'm sure they'd love to score in the second half and go absolutely mental with their fans. Madueke, another delivery into the front post, but it doesn't even make it into the box. It's into the side netting. The first one was a good delivery. That was poor.
That was awful from Madueke. I think to say it was poor is probably underplaying it slightly. I mean, it's hit the side netting, and it's actually hit the middle of the side netting. So it's not even near the near post. It's just a completely flat ball that's, now the camera focusing on the set-piece coach. I mean, the set-piece coach can take responsibility for some of it, but he's not there telling Madueke to do that. That's just one of those where the player has to take the responsibility.
If a run's off here or there and someone's not in the right position, falls for him, he's probably thinking, well, we've had 100 of those in training. You've put them right on the spot every single time. So the first one was a great delivery, but the second one really lacking quality there from Dembele, from Madueke. Apologies, Dembele had a lot of poor crosses as well. From that goal kick, Safanov just boots it straight out. Luis Enrique is absolutely furious because Timber's gained about 5-10 yards.
I mean, that was closer to 10. Yeah. To be fair, I mean, it was poor. Well, poor from Timber. I mean, it's exactly what he wanted to do. It's poor from the officials not spotting it. But Timber now with a decent ball forward, cut out there in midfield by João Neves. Arsenal with the ball back, but this positive start from Arsenal in extra time. It's whether or not they can maintain that, or whether it's a case of they try in the first half of extra time and then switch off in the second. But here comes Madueke.
Enrique looked furious on the sidelines there that Madueke was able to come away with it. Great turn by Timber, and he fouls. Is it Neves who's gone down? I don't know if it was just a flailing arm as he keeps hold of the ball. Referee saying to him, calm down, it's a foul. You might not be happy with it. I thought it was a good turn, but as I said, I think it might have been a flailing arm that was left by the Dutch defender. Watch it back on a replay. Again, those fresh legs are playing dividends there. I would know he catches him almost. He doesn't go into him, but he does catch Neves in the face.
He does. I mean, whether or not he intended to, I don't suppose it's relevant at that stage that there is contact there, and that's what the referee thought was enough. But now we are going to see a change here for PSG. Fabian Ruiz is off, and Warren Zaire-Emery is on.
That'll be a fresh change in midfield. And again, looking at the PSG defence, you would probably say they're the first three changes jump off the page. Unless you were going defensively, you bring a Zabani on a Lucas Hernandez. But in terms of changes you're trying to keep in the game, you're just trying to keep the fresh 11. Barcola, Ramos, Zaire, Emery, probably the first three you'd think of.
Yes, I would agree. I think that's those are the three changes that Enrique makes most often. I think he's probably thinking of another change that he'd like to make, which is his goalkeeper. That's 5, if not 6 times that Safanov has just sent a loose ball or a goal kick straight out for a throw to Arsenal.
With another poor pass, I did see a stat that popped up. It was just before the end of the game, so it will change now. 24 of, at that time, 26 of David Raya's passes were long. So you can see what they're trying to do. It's a high line. They were trying to play long balls. You already spoke about that earlier. But at the same time, when it wasn't coming off, that's the problem, isn't it? If they were winning all the second balls, say, oh, keep doing it, but I couldn't really pick out a point where David Raya played the long ball and Arsenal came away with an attack.
No, exactly that. And I think from Arsenal's point of view, that they'll be disappointed that they've not been able to use those long balls a little bit better, because the PSG have had spells in this game when they could have been got at a little bit more. Arsenal trying to press high up the field now, and Rice does win the ball back for them.
He does excellently. Doesn't matter. He's got the armband now. Eze tries to play it back first time into Timber. Of course, Eze only came on in the first couple of minutes of, at the half-time stoppage, if you will. Zaire picks the ball up, so Eze, I'm surprised he didn't start the final. I think it was a great end to the season. Bryce, Madueke, Timber looking for the run of Madueke, that opens it up. Lovely pass into Gyökeres. Uses his body so well. Does he bring his man down? Referee says yes. João Neves. He's been fouled a good 3 or 4 times in the last couple of minutes, if you will. The diminutive Portuguese midfielder. Just having a quick look at the stats. Possession, all PSG really. 75%, 1.56 XG. Of course, the penalty will rise that up exponentially. 18 shots to 4 in favour of PSG, 3 on target to the 1 of Arsenal. Chase on here between Ramos and Gabriel. The Brazilian gets there first. Back to David Raya. Ramos slowly closed down, and once again, that's another long ball. That time it's won well by Gyökeres, but they don't win the second ball. Rice thought that Nkapia was going to go to it. Instead, and then Nkapia thought that Rice was going to go towards it. Poor pass in the middle, and here come Arsenal. Martinelli. He's done very little since coming on in the game. Madueke has done a decent amount. Great tackle from Marquinhos there. And there could be a counter-attack on here. Ramos driving forward. Gyökeres brings his man down. Cynically, that's going to be a yellow card all day long. And again, that one I don't think, very similar to João Neves brought down Havertz late on in the second half. You felt you have to do that because they were flying forward. I don't think Gyökeres has to do that one. Yes, it stops the attack, but if anything, he was going away from goals, Ramos.
Yeah, a little bit. I think Gyökeres probably has just got a little bit early with that kind of foul. But then there's the nervousness and the fact that we're in this scenario. I mean, it's such a long way from goal as well. If you're going to take one for the team, make it worth it. I think there he's just probably given a bit of a freebie of a yellow card away.
And now it's an opportunity for PSG to swing one in or create something off the cuff, if you will. It's very central, of course, so it's an awkward one to, if you're going to whip it in. Of course, Arsenal do have the height advantage. Vitinha is the man over it. He's the only player over it as well. He's the Portuguese midfielder. The referee's having a word with Saliba. Gabriel, as per usual, at least what we're used to in the Premier League. Vitinha will whip one in at the back post. It's headed away. Paco will keep it alive. Ball into the box is deflected away. He's out for a corner, but no, he's not gone out for a throw-in. Apologies. But PSG, the ones with momentum. Dembele, he's on the... I think unfortunately for him, because of course, fingers crossed, if he's on the sideline, it is cramp, it's not an injury. He'll be sat there going, I'd have done this, I'd have done that. But as you've pointed out, he didn't have a great game. He
didn't have a great game, and that's probably why he's reliving it even more now, because he wants to sort of think of what he could have done, perhaps what he should have done when he was on the field. But it's difficult, isn't it? You know, when you're in a team like PSG, every player has got some star quality. Dembele is being asked to play as a striker, and that's not really his preferred position, even though he does very well at it.
It's one of them as well where we've already spoke about with the game against Spurs in the Super Cup back in, it was basically the first game of the season, really, wasn't it, where they won. They were down 2-2 and they drew 2-2. It was Ramos' 94th minute goal, so he's a right place, right time kind of player, isn't he? I can imagine Barcola putting the ball into the box and he finishes it off where Dembele wouldn't be in that position. He'd be the one creating the chance, if you will. Here come PSG. Hakimi's driving forward. He's going to go for goal with his left foot over the bar. And is that a PSG side that a little bit about ideas at the moment?
Perhaps so, yeah. I think that from Hakimi's point of view, a speculative effort with his weaker boot from a long way outside the box, but he's not really in a good position, and the shot goes 5 or 6 yards over the bar. That's very disappointing, and I think he should be doing a lot better there.
He should do. I think he's spot on. Keep the attack alive, or something along those lines. With 10 minutes, we're just under 5 away from finishing the first half of extra time. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Pictures of the players on the bench like Kvaratskhelia and Havertz. They can only watch on in a bit of agony. You've done as much as you can do. Havertz got the opener for Arsenal. Kvaratskhelia won the penalty. Dembele dispatched it. You've done your job. It's up to your teammates to come away and hopefully lift the trophy. with you at the end of the evening. Ball played away by Pacho, out for a throw-in just inside the Arsenal half on the right-hand side. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1, approaching the end of the first half of stoppage time. And again, as Enrique is pointing out here, first of all, Arteta's well out of his technical area. Timbers, once again, maybe even close to the 15 yards that time.
I mean, the throw-on should have been in Arsenal's half. And then Timber moved about 10 yards forward. And as Enrique was reporting that to the officials, Timber took 3 or 4 steps forward again. So it is incredible really how he got away with that. But here come Arsenal now with Madueke.
Madueke up against Mendes. He gets past him. There's a tumbling. Oh, he says get back up, does the referee. It was shoulder to shoulder. Did Madueke get in front of him? That's a close one. I can imagine VR are going to review it. Arsenal are asking for it. You need to continue because PSG are going to drive forward here. Zaire Emery, Vitinha spreads it out to the right-hand side. Arsenal are still having a moan at the referee, but PSG could come forward and take the lead for the first time this evening. It is slowed down, and credit to Arsenal. They've got bodies back. Madueke is back as well, so credit to the Gunners, and it's going to slow down there. I'd love to see a replay because at first, to me, that's 2 players running at pace, shoulder to shoulder. They both get tangled together personally. But if we see a replay, we might see a different question. I'll bring Paul in a moment. As on the right-hand side, PSG are still coming forward. Zaire Emery back to Hakimi. Swings it to Vitinha. Lovely passing to Zaire Emery, but it's a great interception from Hincapié. PSG still down the right-hand side. It was a heavy touch from the Arsenal defender. Dewey looking for a 1-2. Can he create something? Another great tackle. Vitinha. Bodies. Vitinha looking to go through. Gabriel puts his laces through it and clears it away. So back to the possible penalty shot. What do you think, Paul?
I think that there's certainly a question to be asked. Looking at it live, it was difficult to see whether it was a 50-50. I mean, the Arsenal bench is still kicking off. The referee's done the demonstrative sort of no, as if to say that although the ball hasn't gone out of play, we have checked it. Declan Rice is absolutely furious. He's actually picked up a yellow card in live play for arguing with the referee over that decision. I mean, we've still not been shown a replay of it, so hopefully now we get a chance to see it, and maybe we can make a bit more of a decision. But for the time being, we're just being shown the players being booked rather than actually the decision itself.
Arteta's being booked as well. This is where, if I'm PSG, I'm probably laughing because regardless of what's happened, they're losing their heads a little bit. Does he pull we're watching it back now, does he pull the left arm of Madueke? Is it coming together? Have they both got wrapped around?
Has Madueke gripped Nuno Mendes' arm and then dragged him towards himself, or has Nuno Mendes fallen into Madueke and fouled him? I mean, the way Arteta was screaming at the officials there, it was absolutely obvious to him that it was a penalty, but looking at that replay, it isn't obvious to me.
I agree with you. You put up correctly as we were seeing it. I think Madueke wraps his arm around Nuno Mendes, and then they're coming together, but because then Madueke's left arm goes back, it looks like Mendes is the one who brings him down,
yes.
But he initiates the contact with Madueke.
He does, yeah. I think that's exactly it. And now Arsenal the Arsenal players are beckoning towards the bench because they're saying that Hincapié has to go off. Guys, he can't. There's no more substitutions. So either Hincapié plays on or Arsenal are down to 10 men.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you rightfully point out, that sometimes you'd rather leave it till... If you want to bring a sub on, you want to just leave your one available, whether it's the full 5 in the 90 or the extra time one. Because you never know, unless, as you said, a concussion substitution, yeah, that's different. But you just never know, do you? Someone, especially because you've played so much football all season, such an intense, high-quality game, you just never know what could happen injury-wise.
No, you don't. Absolutely right. And I think Hincapié is playing on, but I don't know how much use he's going to be now.
No, and if you're down that right-hand side of PSG, you're probably very happy. I won't be surprised if they put him centrally, and I think that's what they've done. I think going out to the left-hand side more is Zuppamendi as well as Martinelli, just trying to get back a little bit more defensively, so Hincapié kind of just sit there and be a body. Looks like PSG are going to make a substitution. Lucas Beraldo's, we're getting stoppage time, 2 minutes or stoppage time. That's probably more for Hincapié going down a minute or two ago, so we're not far away from half time or extra time. Of course, is what 2 minutes. It's very brief. It is a half-time period between both halves. Looks like Lucas Beraldo is going to come on. A defender, but can play in the middle. And do you think that's maybe just, again, that's my option. He played in midfield against Paris FC. He can probably be the sitter. And again, just maybe getting fresh legs on and maybe saying, you sit back, maybe a back three with everyone else flying forward.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out whether it would be a swap for one of the centre-backs. Does he come on for João Neves potentially or Vitinha? take out a midfield body and bring on a defender who has some midfield qualities. I think that may be what Luis Enrique is considering now.
Yeah, John Evans on a yellow card, as you say. Maybe just to be careful, to be safe. I think you could be spot on with that, as we've been speaking. PSG with all the possession, they've made it down the right-hand side. Hakimi tries to take it past his man. In Martinelli, ball into the boxes. Blocked away out for a throw-in. We've played a minute of the two to be added on. PSG 1, Arsenal 1. So tense. PSG looking to go back-to-back. The Gunners looking for their first European trophy. Pacho, well, from the throw-in high on the right-hand side, PSG have been forced all the way back. Mendes dinks it over the top looking for Doué. Too much on it, and Doué didn't make the run. He wanted it to feet. We were speaking about runners in the first half. I know both teams will be extremely fatigued and exhausted right now, but there's not many runners in behind Zaire Emery. That's fresh legs. Oh, tries to poke it forward to Ramos. Madueke takes it away. Only unfortunately goes back into his own half, and we're not far off of half time or extra time. Eze trying to get on the ball and create something, and the next 15 minutes are going to be so interesting of risk to reward.
No, it is. I think that we've only got a few seconds now before the end of the first half, so I don't expect there to be any more action now. In fact, the referee is looking towards his watch. That will be the end of this first half. But in the second half, I think we'll have a bright 5 minutes from PSG, and then both sides will be very cautious.
Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? We'll be back shortly. Half time of extra time is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Not too long till we will be back. Will we find a winner in stoppage time, or are we bound for penalties? And it's a warm welcome back to this evening's independent off-tube studio commentary. Extra time, second half just about to begin in the Champions League final. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Will we find a winner in the next 15 minutes, or are penalties bound? Myself, Lewis Raftery, I'm joined by Paul Shabakovic, and I'll take you to Paul to take us through to that full-time whistle.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Yes, so are we going to see, well, we both sort of felt off air in this extra time break that what we're probably going to see is a bright PSG maybe for the first 5-6 minutes, and then if they see that there's just too much Arsenal resistance, then they won't want to risk it too much, and then we're going to have a sort of tentative counting down to penalties. It may well be that both sides surprise us and they try and go for it a little bit, but yeah, I think there's just too much at stake now.
There is. We speak all the time about this, it's risk versus reward, isn't it? And I think by the substitutes coming on, it was a double substitution I forgot to mention. Marquinhos Vitinha off, Zabani and Beraldo on. As we were speaking about just at half-time then, it's almost three centre-backs, everyone else go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's got a bit more licence to try and get forward now, and they've gone forward straight away. A long ball down the left-hand side, kept in play here by Zaire Emery. Rolls it back towards Doué. And then played all the way back towards the halfway line here for William Paco. Square now to Zabani. So it's quite a rise for the former Bournemouth man, isn't it, Elia Zabani? And of course, it's been quite the rise for his former club as well. Of course, Bournemouth having an excellent season. Looks like their manager could be on to bigger and better things in the summer as well. As a long ball into the penalty area. Raya's got to come out and make the save, and he's only just about got there. The second ball could have dropped in towards João Neves before the ball eventually cleared, and it takes a deflection, so that will actually be an Arsenal throw. But that's what we were talking about. It's that one diagonal ball. The aerial battle was won on that right-hand side, and then all of a sudden it was nervy for Arsenal.
And it was in Capia as well, and they can't make any more substitutions, but I'm surprised they haven't removed him central and just put someone else out there, because he picked up a bit of a knock in extra time, didn't he? And we wondered, obviously he can't make the sub. Arsenal made all six. But that's why Bakula was able to get the leap on him, because Hincapie is obviously got a bit of a knock.
He does. Hincapie is not moving around freely at all. And he's still in that left-back position as here come PSG now down the left towards the edge of the area. It's keyed up here. Barcola, can he pull the trigger? Trying to find the space. Doué then going for goal before it's eventually cleared, but only into midfield where Zabani is pushed forward here for PSG. Finds Hakimi on the right-hand side. Back towards Zaire Emery. Achraf Hakimi again. Gets across, which takes a slight nick, and it finds its way through towards David Raya. That's a little salvo there from the PSG players. Has got a bit of a reaction from those PSG fans, because PSG are attacking the goal that is they're attacking the end where their fans are in this second half of extra time.
Well, you saw how crazy they went when they scored from the penalty spot. So I can imagine, and the same if Arsenal score, as you rightfully said, so Arsenal are shooting against where their fans are, so they'll go absolutely mental. It's just two quality teams have put so much into it. Again, I know we've said it, but it's a risk-reward, interesting. Again, maybe Arsenal's depth is where this will shine through.
No, it absolutely isn't. Here come Arsenal now down the right-hand side here with Madueke. He was brought down there by Doué. That should be a free kick to Arsenal in a good position. And it is a good free kick to Arsenal. It is a free kick to Arsenal in a decent position, despite Doué doing his best acting skills to not understand how that could have been given against him. But now a good chance here for Arsenal to send bodies into the box.
It's a very much a forwards foul. It's that flick of a leg out, isn't it? I can see Madueke making that on Doué.
The irony about that is that he looks at Madueke and thinks that's not enough to bring you down, but then you think forwards make a career out of drawing that kind of contact and winning free kicks and penalties for their side. So it's always quite ironic when a forward has it done to him and then suddenly, oh, I see, that's why everyone always gets angry at me when I win free kicks against them. But Doué now having to get into a defensive role, because it's a good opportunity now for Arsenal with Declan Rice swinging this ball in from the right-hand side. Decent height on it as Safonov gets on the end of that. It's a decent punch away. It gets out of the penalty area. I'm more of the goalie should be catching his score, but there was a huge glut of players in front of him, so in fairness, Safonov does well there. And then a combination of Hakimi and Zabani take all the sting out of the Arsenal attacking possession, and now Nuno Mendes can play the ball away from his own penalty area.
Yeah, tries to pick up Zaire It's another lovely pass. He did that earlier for Doué, and here come PSG.
Oh, it's a great turn there from Zaire Emery, but that's also really good covering. That's superb there from Gabriel Martinelli. He's every inch the attacking midfielder, but he behaved like a centre-back there, just using his body, barging, but within the rules, and winning the ball back for his side.
Just using his body correctly, as you say, knowing that not too much, just using the turn as well. And like you say, about just going back to Safanov there, it's about the punches, and I agree with you. I think a goalkeeper should come out and catch that. But if you can punch it well away, okay, fair enough. And it was a decent punch away. Again, you just look at Arsenal and you look at how they're lined up, you would say this is still a really strong 11. You look at PSG and you go, okay, so you're missing a free. I know it's because of the game's gone on, but if Arsenal lined up like this for the game in the Premier League or Champions League, you'll go, okay, so this has been rested. It's still a strong squad, whereas PSG a little bit hindered.
A little bit hindered now, yes, I agree, although maybe that's levelled off slightly by the fact that Arsenal have got a player who's potentially moving at 60% right now with Hincapié, although, I mean, he's actually, just as I was saying that, we looked across to the edge of the Arsenal penalty, he was literally grabbing his left thigh, so he has got some sort of problem there, Hincapié, and let's hope that he's well enough to be able to complete the game, because at some point, it might just be that even being stood up is going to be too much for him. But it's PSG in possession. We've had 5.5 minutes of the last period of extra time. So as I say, we're probably only a few minutes away now from both sides almost calling it a day there and just waiting for penalties, because as I say, if you go for it too much towards the end of the game, there's a risk of losing what you have. But now João Neves trying to turn away from Zubimendi, and he does, but then Zubimendi blocks him as the ball gone out for a corner. I think he did even before the second time that Zubimendi tried to turn. And that will be a corner kick to PSG.
It's quite unlucky because João Neves is really good, and then it takes a defensive well from Zubimendi, goes back off Neves, so you think, oh, it's going to be a goal kick, then it's off the backside of Zubimendi, and before he can grab it again, it's gone back out. But 11 corners, PSG, apart from that one with Pacho, they've been quite poor.
They have. They've not used their set pieces at all, and the fact they've had so many, and hardly any of them have been memorable, but Doué's ball in, well, make it 12 that have been not very memorable, because that's a really low, poor corner that's easily dealt with. Arguably, Arsenal could have used the loose ball from that corner a little bit better for a counter-attack, but a combination of Gyökeres and Madueke couldn't quite maintain the ball between them. So now PSG have it back down the left-hand side, and here they go again now with Mendes just playing it back in towards Zabani now over on the right-hand side for PSG. Looking up to see what options he has. One of those is Desiré Doué. Arsenal playing an offside line just level with the edge of the D. They don't want to be too deep, but also they don't want to be too high either, because then that does leave too much of their penalty, or too much of their half of the field exposed to a potential PSG counter-attack. There's still some pace left in this team, that's for sure. But as Lewis mentioned, potentially PSG a slightly more sort of knotted together team at this stage, whereas Arsenal, there's a bit more of a sort of fluidity from their regular 11. But despite that, Arsenal were just a little bit nervous. They are defending now pretty much full on.
They are. And this is what we spoke about a little bit earlier about being experienced, isn't it? I know Arsenal have not gone over the line. They've won the title and they've been great all season. But, and I know it was a different final last year, 5-0, they dominated in Milan. But they were here last year with PSG. They got over that hump. Arsenal, they've got a lot of experienced players, but they've also got a lot of players that haven't been at this point. PSG go, right, yeah, we dominated last year. We've got that medal and we want it again.
Well, they're going to get a chance now with the ball. Whipped in from the left-hand side, too close to David Raya. Gonzalo Ramos was trying to make a nuisance of himself there, but Raya with the comfortable save. And already just looking at that Arsenal 11, I'm sure that Arteta will have various penalty taker lists as well, in terms of who would want to be taking one, who's fit enough, strong enough to take one after the exerts of this evening. There's a ball played through the middle. It needed Saliba there just to make sure he got his body in the way. Zubimendi already with João Neves on his back has to go towards Declan Rice. Rice tries to lift one over the top. That's not a good ball from Rice. It's not really close to Timber or to Madueke, so credit to Yuri and Timber. He's bitten back at Nuno Mendes and won the ball back for Arsenal. He's had a good appearance off the bench, I would say, Yuri and Timber.
Yeah, and possibly there was rumours of his injury not being fully fit. Maybe if he starts, no offence to Mosquera, I thought he had it. Apart from the penalty he gave away, he had a really good game, did Mosquera. He's not a natural right back, and Timber, again, it might be a different game if he started right back, who knows?
It is, but this is quite interesting. Looking at to Mikel Arteta, he is furiously beckoning for his players to really press at PSG. It was a long ball that went out for a throw to PSG. It's Hakimi now taking the throw from their right-hand side. It's level with the edge of the PSG penalty area. And Arteta was telling his players to push further upfield. And it's works because now they've won the ball back combination of Zubimendi and Eze. Have the ball back for Arsenal. Eze, towards Madueke. It goes under his foot and finds its way through towards Safonov.
It's one of them, isn't it? Because to get that past the PSG man, you have to fizz that into the feet of Madueke. So I think it's one of them. I think Madueke takes it on his right foot, maybe. That's a better chance. But I mean, that's where we talk about fine margins at this point of the game. We know we've already spoke about it, but it is again, Barcola had that chance for the last kick of the game, and it could fall for Gyökeres. It could be a tap-in, for example, couldn't it? And that's how we get a goal, or we get penalties. You just never know. And again, it's such a, as you said, wrist versus rod. Here comes Barcola.
Here comes Barcola now down the right-hand side at the edge of the area. Uses the run of Hakimi back into the middle now. Played across towards Beraldo. Leaving it for João Neves. Under 5 minutes to go now. I can't imagine there'd be too much added time. We've not really had any stoppages in extra time so far in this second half. Zabani now pushing forward, which is something he did when he was at Bournemouth as well. Played over towards the edge of the area. Back now with Barcola, who's wandered over towards the right-hand side. Barcola's ball into the box is headed clear by Gabriel. Now it's with João Neves to Doué. The pass is just behind its intended recipient, but PSG are able to recycle it. Every second ball seems to be going to PSG now. Arsenal have just accepted their role as the defending team.
They have, and to be quite honest, because they've done that most of the game, they're probably now very comfortable out there in doing that. And look, you haven't got Doué's on the field, Barcola is. But Doué is a very tired player right now. You haven't got Kvaratskhelia or Dembele to worry about. Ramos is someone in the box. But yeah, it's almost Arsenal. I think they're now, right, if we can hit on the counter, we can. If not, let's defend well and see how it goes.
That's exactly it. They're going to try and defend as well as they can. If they can hit PSG on the counter, then great. But as it stands now, Arsenal are 3.5 minutes away from the lottery of penalties and becoming Champions League winners. So I think from that point of view, if you're a gambler, I think you'd probably stick with that. But then, of course, PSG feel as though they're able to allow themselves to have a little bit more of a gamble, perhaps take another card, because they have got all the ascendancy right now as Zabani plays the ball down the right-hand side. It's been kept in play by João Neves, but that's an awful ball from the right-hand side. It's still kept in play there, and then it deflects up in the air after a strike from Doué, but that deflection actually takes a lot of the power out of the shot, and it's an easy save for Raya in the end. Now Madueke is trying to get away from his man down the right-hand side. That's the easiest decision there for referee Daniel Seibert to give Nuno Mendes a yellow card.
And he was walking away, almost giving the thumbs up to the referee, going, yeah, I know it. But again, we spoke about Gyökeres' yellow card. That's the perfect, just take the yellow card, take one for the team there. And watching it back, I mean, Raya at first, it looped quite nicely for him at first. I thought, is Raya going to be able to get to this? And you spoke about penalties. David Raya is quite a good goalkeeper from penalties as well. He's not quite a good, from my memory, I remember against Atalanta, he made a great double save from a penalty spot a few years ago. So unless I'm just revisions history, he's quite a good goalkeeper. I'm not saying anything in Safonov, but big moments, he's come up clutch quite a lot of times.
He has. I mean, it's. I think a lot will depend on which end the penalties are taking at, who takes or scores the first penalty as well. That can always have a huge impact on how it goes for the rest of the team. There's also some luck as well, where you get the perfect penalty, the keeper goes the wrong way, but it just smacks the underside of the bar and won't go over the line. So there's always just a little bit of luck. You need to go your way as Arteta nervously looks at his watch, looks at the big screen to confirm that his watch is right as well, because he knows that there really is very little time left now, still trying to get some further instructions out to his players.
Yeah, and it's one of them, isn't it, where he's probably, as you said earlier, about trying to press further up. If you can, it's one of them, isn't it? He's trying to say press high if you can't sit back. But if we could get them and they hit a swift counter, they're tired and they're pushing quite high. If we create a chance out of their mistake, we'll be over the moon.
Well, absolutely. As here come Arsenal now down the right-hand side with Madueke. They've won the ball high up the field, and Madueke gets it into Timber. Timber into the penalty and fires it across goal, and it's into the side netting. Well, why not? We've seen Safonov being beaten at his near post already, albeit that was an absolute worldy strike from Havertz that gave Arsenal the lead in the first half. Timber, well, once he gets away he wants to surprise. He's not too far away, but I think on that occasion, had it been on target, I think Stefanov probably had it covered.
I think it's a nice height. As you said with Havertz, he's just put it right in the top of the goal. Hasn't he? Great strike, yes, at the front post, but I think it's a really good strike. I can imagine as well, so maybe a lot of Arsenal fans that just see the net bulge from the side netting and think it's a goal if you are looking at it from a different angle, but I mean, as well, this is no offence if that maybe falls for Eze. Maybe it's a different technique and a better strike.
Yeah, maybe. We could have got a little bit closer to goal, but now Eze has won the ball for Arsenal in midfield. Zubimendi picks it up here about 30 yards from goal, goes square to Declan Rice over on the right-hand side. He's got support in the form of Timber and Madueke. The ball has gone to Madueke. Holds it up, then puts it onto his left foot. The cross goes in. It's a good, strong header away, though, by Beraldo. Second ball is with Gyökeres at the edge of the box, at the edge of the D. Pulls the trigger, takes a deflection, and Arsenal, just as we tick into injury time, in extra time, Arsenal have a corner.
I mean, how poetic it would be that they've been so good from corners all year long. I think it's only their third corner game. We saw that stat was 11-2, wasn't it? So look at a handball possibly here, but it will definitely at least be an Arsenal corner.
Well, they're asking about a handball. Well, I don't know. I mean, from that sort of angle, I don't think it's. It was almost like Arteta wanted the handball, but his own players weren't even looking towards that. As PSG fans looking on nervously, we're going to get 1 minute, I believe. I think the referee was just confirming 1 minute of added time at the end of the extra time period, and it's going to be a corner kick here to Arsenal from the right-hand side. Stefanov looking on nervously. He knows that there really is very little time left now in this game. It is going to be whipped in here by Madueke. Whips in at pace as well. But the corners have been poor this evening. Barcola with a header at the edge of the 6-yard box. It's Stefanov. He couldn't get to the second ball. It's nodded clear. Must be seconds left now as Rice fires it back in. Takes a deflection, but it is deflected away from goal. Rice going after the second ball. He gets the final touch. And it's away for a goal kick.
That could have gone absolutely anywhere there. Savinov was stranded, and it looks like we might be off to penalties.
Yeah, we are off to penalties. Daniel Siebert won't allow for that goal kick to be taken, and so after 120 minutes plus plenty of added time, there is no winner between PSG and Arsenal in Budapest. We will need penalties to decide who is the Champions League winner, and we're back for you in just a couple of minutes for the shootout.
At 28 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? Will PSG go back-to-back, or will the Gunners lift the trophy for the first time? We'll be back shortly. 128 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? Will PSG go back-to-back, or will the Gunners lift the trophy for the first time? We'll be back shortly. 128 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? Will PSG go back-to-back, or will the Gunners lift the trophy for the first time? We'll be back shortly. 128 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? Will PSG go back-to-back, or will the Gunners lift the trophy for the first time? We'll be back shortly. 120 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? Will PSG go back-to-back, or will the Gunners lift the trophy for the first time? We'll be back shortly. 120 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? Will PSG go back-to-back, or will the Gunners lift the trophy for the first time? We'll be back shortly. 120 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? Will PSG go back-to-back, or will the Gunners lift the trophy for the first time? We'll be back shortly. 120 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? Will PSG go back-to-back, or will the Gunners lift the trophy for the first time? We'll be back shortly. 120 minutes of football couldn't separate the two sides. We are off to penalties. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz's early strike gave the Gunners the lead, and from the penalty spot, Dembele levelled it up after the hour mark. What a tense, physical, high-quality game it's been. For the first time in 10 years since Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, the winner of the Champions League will be decided on penalties. Who will be the winner? And it is a warm welcome back to independent off-tube studio commentary of all the action from the Puskás Stadium, Budapest, Hungary Champions League final. 120 minutes couldn't separate these two sides. It is PSG 1, Arsenal 1. Kai Havertz penalty, apologies, Ousmane Dembele scored from the penalty spot. Kai Havertz 6-minute strike gave the Gunners the lead early on, and then Dembele's penalty just after the hour mark levelled it up, and it's been tense ever since. Penalties to decide the winner of the Champions League for the first time in 10 years. Last time this happened at San Siro in 2016, Atletico Madrid against Real Madrid. They started that three-peat for Real Madrid. Will PSG be winning on from the penalty spot and going back-to-back after winning the trophy for the first time last year? Or will Arsenal, after I just saw a stat at half-time, Arsenal played 225 European Cup and Champions League matches without winning the trophy? Could this be their 226th game in the competition in Europe and win their first trophy? PSG won the toss. They will be shooting at the end where their fans are, and they won the toss and they will be taking first. Gonçalo Ramos will be stepping up first. It's myself, Lewis Rafter. I'm joined by Paul Chubakovic. I'll be taking through the PSG penalties. I will pass over to Paul for the Arsenal penalties. It will be the Portuguese forward, the number 9. He scored that equaliser late on, and they did beat Spurs, of course, on penalties in the Super Cup. What will be the outcome here? As I thought Ramos was about to, he put the ball down, and the referee's now going to have a word with the two referees.
I hate this, Lewis, honestly. It's such a big moment, this in European and world football, and the referee has to remind two goalkeepers who've got hundreds of games between them that they're not allowed to go over the line. It doesn't... As I say, he should have done all of this before the players were waiting to take the first penalties. The referees just don't think about the players at all in this situation.
Ramos put the ball there. Like you said, if he'd have done that when they were all coming over, fair enough. You've just got to do your due diligence. You shouldn't have to tell the goalkeepers.
Maybe interrupt those pointless huddles that the players have before a penalty shootout. Anyway, enough of that. Here comes the penalty from Ramos.
Ramos up against Raya. Will Raya be the hero, or will Ramos put PSG 1-0 up in the shootout? It will be the right foot of Ramos. He steps up and he sends it the wrong way. What a strike into the top corner. I don't think if Raya went the right way, he would have got that one right in front of the PSG supporters. It's PSG 1, Arsenal 0 on pens.
One of my favourite type of penalties that I have to say, it's the inside of the boot, sending it the wrong way, if you like, a right footer sending it into the right top corner. Goalkeeper going the wrong way as well. Very confident penalty there from Gonzalo Ramos.
It was a lovely penalty. So as I say, I'll be taking you through the PSG penalties. It will be Paul to take you through the Arsenal penalties, so I'll pass it over to Paul.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Yes, Victor Gyökeres stepping up to be the first Arsenal penalty taker. Arsenal fans already putting their heads down their shirts, already trying to hide. But Gyökeres, we know he's confident from the spot. It's usually a quick, powerful run-up before a driven penalty. Gyökeres against Safanov, and it's a very confident penalty. Sends it into the same corner as Ramos, but he places it along the ground, and Safanov goes the wrong way.
As you said, it's a good run. It's a strong, confident run-up. Some players like a longer run-up, some players have a shorter run-up, but he almost feels like the Swede builds momentum up. And then, as you said, he strikes it. It's a clean strike. He sends the keeper the wrong way. It's one of them that, could the keeper have got it? Maybe if he went the right way, but I do think
if he guesses right, I think there was always a chance. But part of Gyökeres' run-up is that he's hoping that his body movement is going to send the keeper the wrong way anyway. And the second taker for PSG will be Desiree Doué.
What a moment, of course. He scored in the final last year. Won't count as a goal scorer, but could he put the ball in the back of the net technically in another final back-to-back? What a piece. Second penalty for PSG. Doué against Ryan. Times of the two penalties, the keeper's been sent the wrong way. Central run-up goes to his left as Doué. It'll be a right-footed effort, and once again the keeper goes to the right and the ball goes in the other end. A very similar penalty to Victor Gyökeres is there. PSG 2, Arsenal 1, and at the moment 3 confident penalties.
Very confident penalties. 3 of them relying a little bit, maybe the one from Ramos, as you said, probably would have been scored anyway, but the next 2 penalties, there is a little bit of relying on the keeper, guessing wrong there, trying to send the keeper the wrong way. And now it will be Eberechi Eze to be the second penalty taker for Arsenal. It's been an incredible year for Eze, scoring the winning goal for Palace to win the FA Cup last season, for joining Arsenal, becoming a Premier League winner. Now a chance to be a Champions League winner as well, and of course in the England squad. But Eze now up against Safanov. It's a short run, it's a stuttered run. Oh, he stuttered again. Oh, he's put it wide. It's an awful penalty from Eze. It's an absolutely terrible penalty from Eze. It's like he's in a cartoon. He's trying to do a little Bugs Bunny run up, stopping his legs, starting again. He lost all of his balance, and the penalty is sent wide.
It's like we spoke about with Gyökeres. He runs up with momentum. There's intent in the Eze was stuck. There's not wrong, I think, with a stutter, but you stutter and then go. He stuttered, stopped, and then went. He loses his balance, loses his power. I think he's quite fortunate. If that had gone in, he chooses the right side, so he would have got away with it. But poor penalty there. So PSG, they lead 2-1. And it will be Nuno Mendes to take this one. Again, as if you spoke about what a year he's had, I mean, he'll be hoping now David Raya could bail him out and his teammates can do him a solid. But it is PSG 2, Arsenal 1 on penalties. As Paul's already spoke about, not many, a lot of fans can't even look. Head in hands, shirts over faces, tears already. Can Nuno Mendes make it 3-1? David Raya saves it. What a save as well from the Spaniard. Well, I'm sure Eze, as the Arsenal fans erupt into joy. Eze will be wanting to sprint over and say, thank you, you've bailed me out. It's 2-1 PSG. Arsenal have the chance to get that equaliser.
Well, this is the first penalty, I think, which has just gone for power. As you said, absolutely no jiggery-pokery, absolutely no sort of shenanigans trying to dummy the keeper, stutter the run-up. It's just a classic run-up, putting the instep through it, and he's just made it too obvious to David Raya, who's able to dive across and make a save. A huge let-off there for Eze, but of course only partially, because now Declan Rice, can he step up and put Arsenal into a position where they can now level up the shootout. This will be after this penalty, of course, it will be 3 penalties each that have been taken. Declan Rice up against Safanov. And Rice now just waiting for that referee. It's a very straight run up. He's not going to the left or the right of the ball. Now he moves over to the left. Confidence from Rice. He was waiting until the last moment. Safanov will be frustrated because the ball was never that far away from him.
No, it wasn't. If he goes to his left, it's not a great penalty from Declan Rice. That is one of them that if he goes the right way, if he just goes, I'm going this way, he saves it. Although you can see the frustration is he's almost, his arms go, but his body doesn't go with him, does he? So
it's just the last movement Safanov makes before Rice strikes it, his body's starting to move to the right. Then he realises he needs to go to the left, and by then it's too late.
So as his miss, well, Raya got him out of jail, and Rice has levelled it up. So we've had 3 penalties apiece. It is 2 apiece. This will be the 4th penalty, and it'll be the man with the armband on for PSG. Rice just had the armband on there. It'll be Hakimi, the Moroccan, to step up. We'll say Mendes, I thought it was power. Great save by Raya, but it was very much at the great height for the keeper. Hakimi steps up, sends the keeper the wrong way. A very similar penalty to Mendes, but he sends him the wrong way. Makes it 3-2 PSG. Now to Arsenal once again.
Yeah, all the pressure now back on Arsenal. So it's 3-2 to PSG, but Arsenal have this penalty in hand, if you like. So now we're going to see who the 4th penalty taker is for the Gunners. And yeah, very confident penalty that from Hakimi. Just seeing a second replay of that. Kvaratskhelia, I'm sure he would have been taking a penalty had he still been on the field, but he got substituted towards the end of the game. PSG fans loving that penalty being scored. The question is now, what's going to happen with this penalty for Arsenal? The 4th taker is Gabriel Martinelli. Came off the bench to replace Leandro Trossard. Martinelli up against Safanov. Martinelli, oh, that's a very confident penalty. He puts power into it, a little bit of elevation as well, right into the top corner, and he sends the keeper. It's a very confident penalty, 3-3.
Oh, well, what a moment nowadays when you're down to that. The last 2 penalties, aren't you? PSG score, the pressure's on Arsenal. If PSG missed it, the pressure's on Arsenal.
We're in sudden death now.
100%. And like you say, that's a great penalty for Martinelli. He runs up with intent, with pace, with power. Similar to what Gyökeres, you build up that momentum and strike it well. It's one of them, again, as we said, if he goes the right way, Safanov, he's probably not saving that. Great penalty from the Brazilians. Who's going to step up for PSG is going to be the question now. Beraldo, the substitute who came on for Vitinha, will be the man to step up. Will David Raya be able to save a second PSG penalty? Oh, well, PSG scoring, all the pressure is on Arsenal. Beraldo steps up, he sends him the wrong way. Raya, he made it committed to the right early, trying to play those mind games. Beraldo, he hit the side netting. I thought that was a great penalty. Now it is all on Arsenal. Score, and it keeps going. Miss, and the trophy is PSG's.
Absolutely so, and it is a very confident penalty from Beraldo there. Raya going the wrong way. And those PSG fans behind the goal, they were absolutely delighted now. It's going to be Gabriel Magalhaes, the centre-back, taking a penalty now for Arsenal. You can hear a sharp intake of breath from my colleague in the studio, because as soon as you see a big centre-back trying to do a striker's role, you always worry a little bit. I mean, some, of course, over the years, some of the best penalty takers have been defenders, but it's not the first thing you think of when you think of Gabriel, so we'll wait and see. He's taking a very slow run. Look at that. Even Luis Figo sat next to Arsene Wenger. Took a slight intake of breath there when he saw it was going to be Gabriel stepping up for the penalty. But it's sudden death here now. Gabriel has to score to keep the penalty shootout alive. Oh, he's ballooned it over the bar. He has sent it a long way over the bar. What a horrible way for Arsenal to lose. But it's PSG who retain their trophy. They needed a penalty shootout to do it, but it's delight for the Paris side, despair for the London side, and it's PSG who are Champions League winners after penalty shootout. Thank you very much for joining us.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck. Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting market, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off,